And let me adjust this camera up a little bit as I go over to the round table. Good evening, everyone. I'm Big D, the Gamecraft Dragon. Wow, you sassy. Oh.
On this side of the table, thank God. Am I gonna have to turn on my own Facebook so that I can see any comments? Your Facebook. Or whatever. Yeah.
Hello, they're not here yet. Yes, hey, Mr. Meeks.
Shut up.
I'm posting it live. Here we go. There we go. All right. So some of us are painting, some of us are talking. I'm gonna move over to a little Ray. I'm gonna move over to the table. Hopefully you'll be able to hear and see everybody. I have a Commodore hidden behind my giant fat head. I'm gonna move forward so I can get him in the view. All right. And yeah, goodish. I hide him mostly. He's hard to hide. He's a big guy, but you know, I mean, look at that head.
That ain't the pot calling the kettle black. I don't know what is.
So
You're a big guy. You're almost as big as me.
exactly. And I'm Big D.
Naughty children, behave yourselves. Where's the fun in that?
So this evening with me, we have obviously Lady Dragon.
Hello, everybody.
We have hiding behind me, refusing to be closer to his lady, the Commodore.
I think he said something about her having cooties.
And
No kidding.
we have the lovely, what is the whole thing? Something Phoenix? I know it's Phoenix. Flight of the Phoenix, my lovely niece. And we're just kind of here painting, chatting. The Plague Child's dead in the other room. And we're just kind of doing a round table, talking about gaming, talking about different kinds of gaming, talking about wargaming, painting, figure painting, Warhammer, D&D, all kinds of stuff.
Like nerd culture in general?
Yeah, just nerd culture in general.
Okay, then I got an open discussion to talk about.
Super Mario Brothers?
Why do you think Super Mario Brothers is the best video game movie? You horrible, horrible person.
Because that movie is hilarious. I don't understand why people hate it. It's funny. That movie is funny as hell. I mean, he's got everybody dead. Every time I just mentally picture the scene with all the Goombas in the elevator dancing. It's hilarious. Who doesn't like man? Who doesn't like music?
Mate's Manager says, "Hey, mate," and Meeks asks, "Did you see the message I sent you?"
Let me check, Meeks. I'm right here. Let me
This is
see.
gonna be fun for me, guys, because my head's like turned so you guys can see the back of my head, and it's all
right.
natural.
Pack of data cards. Thank you, sir. That is awesome. I have started printing you up a bunch of wonderfulness.
Yes, he has. Oh my
So,
gosh. Where is my wet palette?
and there's a number of them. There's one right here. There's one there. There's two underneath there. There's one underneath the printer, but I got the printer going right there. Just use that one.
It's mine anyway, but I need to get a new one.
Okay, so you need new paper. All right, we'll get you a palette.
So, give me paper.
I will. Can you give me a moment? I'm checking the
Negative.
chat and stuff.
Negative chemo.
So data packs, that is awesome, sir. Thank you. I've got a couple different people I'm letting know to have this going on. I'm gonna quick let the Chilling War game know as well.
Yeah,
Everybody knows
because I totally need it. They sent me a second pack with Ragnarok cards.
Okay.
Probably like stripes and cards and stuff like that. I need to get for some people.
Excellent. All right, let me grab some palette paper for the lady.
That's it. Who is it? Wasabi?
No, bringing it.
Commodore, I'm sorry.
Or whatever.
You already know what I look like.
There you go.
Nate says he reposted your link in the live area of Discord.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
The link you shared did not work.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that, Nate. I really do. Sorry, I got to figure that out.
I haven't met you yet, but hi, Nate. It's a pleasure to meet you.
So basically, we're here with me, my wife, my niece, and my friend, who happens to also be my niece's boyfriend,
And our moderator.
and our moderator.
So don't screw up.
So it's all in the family here. And we're just talking about gaming on a whole. I mean, we're talking about Warhammer. We're talking about...
Did you give me parchments?
No, it's parchment.
I thought you were supposed to use parchment.
Would you like parchment paper instead? I can try and take that on the phone.
Which works better?
They both work the same pretty much.
You need paper for
I was just trying to.
They both pretty much work.
Hi,
Heinrich, Mr. Baffa. So yeah, we're just kind of talking about
Death
stuff.
comes for the plague child, so they are not with us tonight.
I'm trying to paint figures, but I'm also trying to
Sorry,
moderate
I'll try it.
things. So we're
For
just
once.
messing. My lovely niece was here today. Was so kind, bringing all of her photography stuff. So you're gonna see a bunch of fresh photos coming out of our Instagram when she's done processing them, which I am so excited for because she's such a talented photographer.
All 388 of them.
Yes, in one post.
1, 2, 3, not it.
No, it'll be worse because I'm going to do them all one at a time.
All right. So we started on a topic about video game movies earlier in the evening, which is why there was the comment about why does Big D think that Super Mario Brothers, starring John Leguizamo, Dennis Hopper, and Bob Hopkins, rest their souls, why he thinks that's the best movie ever.
only Bob Hopkins. No, Bob Hopkins.
No, Dennis
Dennis Hopkins is dead. Bob
passed away too.
Yeah, Bob.
John Leguizamo still alive.
Well, but his career's dead.
Have you seen his Broadway stand-up stuff?
No, I love John Leguizamo. He was
Latin History for Idiots or more on
he's
Amazing.
awesome. He was in John Wick. He's amazing in John Wick.
He plays the real
What you
deal.
looking for, sweetie?
His binder.
That has the wax.
I have no idea. Did you leave it over here?
No.
Negative. Nope.
Did you leave it in the car?
Nope. Because I saw it in his hands when he was talking to you earlier.
Okay.
So that led us to the topic of the movie Double Dragons with one of Christine Milian's first movies. Not Christine Milian, Alyssa Milano's first movies.
Oh, God.
And Ming-Na Wen was also in that film.
She was in Double Dragon?
Very, very briefly. She died in like the first 10 minutes of the film. What is it?
That's the official paper.
I would like to give that a try.
No,
After
they
this-
say you need to soak in warm water.
Oh, well, I don't have that, so it's
So we'll put it in a
Yeah,
shower.
Soak in water though.
Right.
And then that took us to the movie that sparked international superstars' cocaine and alcoholic addiction for many years, and resulted in the death of a legend within Hollywood. God rest his soul. We will always miss you, Raul Julia. The movie we're talking about is Street Fighter, which also starred Miguel A. Nunez Jr. and Ming-Na Wen as Chun-Li.
But we also established that the best video game movies were, at least the ones that are most faithful, is Detective Pikachu.
Apparently, Detective Pikachu is a really good movie. From the clips that I've seen, it looks freaking awesome. And then there is Sonic the Hedgehog, which again, I've been told is actually a really good, very entertaining movie.
Well, the funny thing with Ryan Reynolds with Detective Pikachu, when that was first coming out,
It wasn't Ryan supposed to be doing the voice.
no, they were saying it was Danny DeVito or whatever.
No, Kevin Spacey.
Oh, that's right. But no, the funny thing was when that movie was getting ready to be released,
Originally, it's Kevin Spacey going to be Pikachu.
They
Then all
had-
this stuff happened.
they had Ryan Reynolds leaked the whole Detective Pikachu movie on his thing.
And it's just Pikachu dancing.
For an hour and 34 minutes. So people can see the thing like, oh, an hour and 34 minutes. This is real. This is a real movie. And then you click on it. It is literally Pikachu dancing for an hour and 34 minutes. I watched it 6 times.
It's actually really cool. I saw the first like 5 minutes of it when I realized it was just looping. So I thought it was cute as hell.
It was funny.
So
RFD Hobby says, morning, guys.
hey, RFD, nice to see you.
Where is
So yeah, so
the Raccoon City Fire Department?
let's quick go back to the painting table. What are y'all working on?
Okay, what the hell is
I have a new kitty. I have a new kitty.
As everybody has heard on my channel, I did get a Elegoo Mars, and my niece has been doing what are they called? They're mouselings. They're a set of basically D&D adventures, but they're all mice and other cute little animals. And I found a kitty sorcerer that I quick propped out for her, so that we can she can have it. You know, I mean that's the joy of a 3D printer. You see something, you go print it, and you print it out. It looks great.
You big old softie.
Well, it's my niece. It's only niece that talks to me.
He's a sucker. No, he's a total sucker.
What are you working on?
I'm gonna finish putting my inner sisters together, modeling them, and then.
So your Imperial Fist intercessors.
Yep. But I'm not gonna fully put them together because I can't put them in 2 when.
Can you give me one of your guys here for me?
Which one? Which one?
Either one. Because as long as I've got you on the channel, I just want to show off to the people that see this is the kind of work that the Commodore does. If you're not following his Instagram, you really should. He's the Nightly Gamer on Instagram.
Night like the medieval.
Yeah, night like the medieval knight. He is an amazing painter, absolutely stunning. He has a very clean style, and they really beautiful figures. So go and check him out. He does some really great work, and all the photography is done by this professional photographer here. So it looks good.
He's got connections or something.
It even looks better than it actually is painted because the photos fix a lot of the issues.
Yeah. It's called post touch up for a reason.
And even though she wandered off to go get water for the paint cuts, Lady D is painting another squad of her chain rasps for her night hunt army. And I'm working on my WOG.
And in the background, you may occasionally hear the sounds of death emanating. That would be the plague child, currently dying.
Spaghetti with meat sauce, with too much tomato,
cheese, and then ate ice cream. And my poor kid has IBS.
So, and probably some lactose intolerant to go with it as well. So, yeah, just try to kill themselves. So
it's fine.
Hey, if there's more daiquiri, I'll take more daiquiri. That means it's easier to drink. You are my niece. Oh, did you just drink it?
No. I mean, that's how little there was.
I'll make more later.
So it's a shot of death. If you what is left.
So they've been in here a portion of the day. Social distancing is important, but they're social distance the entire. We've been stuck in the house for weeks and we don't go anywhere. So it is what it is. We are what we are, and we're just keeping safe and keeping on.
If we die as a family.
Exactly.
So yes.
You guys are gonna die with?
Devas.
Not that way.
Alvega.
So what were you saying? You're not going to assemble your guys? You're just going to leave them half assembled? What were you saying?
Oh no, the sergeant. I'm gonna leave. I'm not gonna put his arm on, or I'm not gonna put his arms on because I know a guy who can 3D print some things and he might be doing.
You mean the stuff that's printing right now?
Yeah. Trying to be all mysterious.
Well, it'd be nice. You could actually do it. You could use the arm that holds the bolter one-handed, and then have the hammer in the other hand.
I thought really cool because this is going to be, they're going to be assault bolters. Rifles. So I thought about giving the sergeant that other shield that we were printing. I think that would be.
I got
cool.
2 shields printed there.
Mhm.
Like I said, 2 swords, 2 shields. 2 hammers, 2 shields. And something else. I don't know what
I think it was just real cool because we have sergeant, district sergeant. He'll still have a bolt.
Yeah, you just what you do is you put it on his back or put it on his side. They have a slung version of the weapon, if I remember that. I remember that.
But it's for the pistol, man. I already got one of those. I may not model it on. I may have it, but I don't like.
You should throw it on his face. He just threw it down. Ah!
These wolves do it with their guns. Let's try it. How many charges have we done?
What did you do? Did you just throw your gun on the ground? What is wrong with you? Why do you keep throwing your gun on the ground? Put on pain glove.
Yeah, I wanted to do that the other day, and it was actually really cool that I found somebody who had a bunch
So-
of things on how to do adulthood celebration by yourself. Gotcha. So it's pretty cool. We were discussing whether how hard it would be to make some mead at home and to make a proper offering to Odin and the other gods.
We lost a kitty recently. He was a loved member of the family. So,
And that would be why, to those of you who know what Hellvegan means, is why I said it.
so mini painting. What? No, because that's what it is. It's roundtable. We just talk about stuff. So, what part of mini painting do you like the most?
For me, I can't honestly say. Oh my gosh! Hold on, my skirt is being attacked by my chair. Aha! Oh wow, there's a cat.
Mom, you're in your pension chair.
Go find the second one. Okay, let's see. Mini Clip says, "Howdy guys." Gavin Giant says, "Good evening, dragon and ladies." You could come here.
You could be a little bit over so people would see you.
I
You
mean,
pathetic
I'm
man.
in my corner. I'm in my safe space.
safe space. Okay, that's what we're calling it now.
Thanks so much for dropping by, guys. We appreciate
And plus,
it.
then they don't know I'm here.
Well, no, we can still see
You
you.
can still see the glare from behind me. I don't leave backlight.
It's just shake your head.
It's the only way to make. It's the only way to make you look good.
What is my favorite part? That's actually kind of a hard thing. I'm not entirely sure. Oh, Gavin says that he did not see you in the corner. He didn't realize there was somebody else here.
So they can all mess around in the chat, and then like, oh man, why am I getting banned? And then like, I'm here live, motherfucker. Just go, ban him. Surprise, motherfucker!
All right.
Good job.
All right. So everybody ignore a commenter for 300 seconds.
It's no, and if everybody notices on the Saturdays, I'm not as hard. I let Saturdays can be more free days.
I would like to
It's
point out
Saturday
that
night.
you banished me twice the last Saturday. that
You
we
were here in
did.
person. You physically did not have. I have no physical power over you.
He banished me twice in person for dropping an F-bomb, so I went in the other room, and then I got on my computer and he banned me again.
Okay. So I just want to quick point out, this is part of the reason I love this guy's work. He takes his crap really seriously. He's out here with these jeweler's tools, getting those mold lines. No, that's good.
Not all the mold lines.
But I'm just saying. I mean, seriously, I get in there with a scraper and go, yeah, good enough. All right, continue. Another troop in the box. Let's go.
Yep.
I more get the mold line where I cut off the plastic where it's on the screw.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, I saw a really cool ad on Facebook. You know how you were taking your screws and making terrain?
Yeah, those are there. Yeah.
Somebody took screws and clipped them into little brick sizes and made a brick road.
Yeah.
We know him.
We saw somebody who also did the same thing and made bricks, and then made a castle
Out of a castle. Oh, that's
out of bricks.
Mm-hmm.
that's
That's
Let's
a lot.
see if I
yeah.
can.
That's a lot of damn screw.
that's cocaine. Now I'm gonna make a castle out of plastic.
Okay, so other thing. Side fact is that the cocaine references have been very rampant in here. We have been drinking a lot of rum. Not my cat. actual alcoholic beverages.
No, I mean, think about it. I mean, either you're sniffing cocaine, you're sniffing plastic glue, but you're getting about the same effect. Oh, making it
Let's talk about the fumes off of the 3D printer.
Oh,
I've been in the room the entire time with him. I did not smell anything.
Yeah, that's because it's cocaine.
Yeah,
I don't know what you think.
and that's how I'm selling these for 3D printed figures.
Gavin goes, the snow. Should I point out that we're in Wisconsin? So that's a Dublin.
The devil's dandruff.
That's not the devil's dandruff. That's a dragon's cheddar.
Cocaine's also known as devil's dandruff. Like the devil's lettuce is for weed and all that.
Nate has coffee. Yay, welcome back, Nate, with the coffee.
Well done. We have red Solo cups.
Happy time of party.
You know what's funny? In some like foreign countries, like in England, where they have like, you know, in our supermarket stores, we have like the ethnic section where you have like Mexican food, Italian food, and all that. They have the American sections, and there's red Solo cups are found in the American sections of like British supermarket stores.
Yeah,
You don't go to their plasticware. You have to go to the American section.
because they look at this stuff and they go,
And I find out they think it's not. They don't think it's real. They think it's just for movies. Like I've heard
well,
stories-
like my response when I found out that Sheboygan and Dunkin' Donuts are real. No Dunkin' Donuts.
It's in California.
There
They didn't
are
have-
no Dunkin' Donuts in
They
California.
didn't have Krispy Kremes until like 3
Oh,
years
that's right,
ago.
because
No.
I didn't consider my dad Dunkin' Coffee.
We had them 15 years ago. They all closed and they reopened
Like I said, you didn't have
3 years ago. Dixie cups are an American thing, says Gavin, and he is drinking Foster's.
Very nice. Very nice.
Where is my rack?
You know, it's funny. You talk about Foster's. I think of when I was a young boy, like 30 years ago, there were a series of ads in the United States for Foster's beer.
Foster, Australian beer. But the funny thing is, most Australians hate Foster.
Actually, here's a fun fact. As Nate's Miniatures points out, he goes, they don't even serve that in Australia since the 90s.
Yeah,
We're a little
like
slow.
Australia. Like if you went to when you went to Australia, like it's like American, when Foster's like the big thing over here in America. In order to Foster's, they knew you were foreign right away, and they would make fun of you apparently.
Well, I mean, it was just funny because I just remember them. They'd put a sprig on the side of a steak, salad, beer, and then they put down a Foster's. And it was, I mean, marketing works on Americans because basically we're all giant toddlers. I'm not going to lie to you. We're basically a nation of toddlers.
Drop bears. That's all I have to say.
Oh my God. I was
America,
okay.
a nation of toddlers with the nuke codes.
Here's the thing. You talk about drop bears. I was, if you're not familiar with Weather Pig, he is an Australian painter who runs a channel. Really great channel. Yeah, Weather Pig.
Absolute sweetheart.
But we were on his channel. He was doing a live stream while he was painting up a Challenger, and somebody asked about drop bears. Now I knew about the drop bears joke, but apparently they didn't. And he went super serious talking about the dangers of drop bears.
And how many people die every year.
And he maintained this for at least an hour during the stream. And I mean, there were people that were seriously freaked out about it. And it was finally like, yeah, just like them drop bears, huh? And he finally broke and was laughing about it. But it was so funny to hear because he was just like, oh, drop bears are dangerous. You know, it's just like, oh, God, stop. And I can't do an Australian accent, so I will offend you.
When did you go British?
I will offend you, and I don't care.
Technically, the
Because-
Australians are British. They're
Don't
just,
call them that. They will
Hey,
kill murder you.
and remember, we're ugly Americans. We don't care if we offend people.
we had
Don't get your accents wrong. It's one of them foreign accents.
It's one. You know what? Speak for yourself. I try not to offend.
No.
I try not to be that American, even though I.
Well, and I don't either. But I mean, you put
That's why
Normandy.
England's so. That's why England's so boring.
It's all written in.
They got rid of all the fun
Japanese.
people. All the crazy ones went to Australia. All the really crazy ones went to America.
And when you translated.
Now you got a bunch of boring people
It
drinking
goes-
fucking tea in England.
It says,
I want some biscuits and tea. Meanwhile, in Australia, fucking drop bears and shit. In America, we're just like, I'm gonna fire a gun in here to make you feel good.
Yes, guess what, guys? What goes up must come down.
Again, American.
Let's see.
Physics don't count in America.
Nate
That's a
says,
law, and I ain't gotta follow no laws of it ain't in my constitution.
Nate
Especially
says
if that.
drop bears are real. Ha ha. And then he goes, offend me? Nah, mate. Aussies are relaxed as.
Yeah, I know. Like
And
I
Devin says, I don't mind. Go after the nuppities.
said.
What does that mean? Drop bears, look out above. From Video.
Oh, so yeah. I mean, just so if for some of you that are newer to my channel, here's the thing: when we're doing actual content videos, we try to keep the
Family friendly.
no, not even just that. I mean, when I'm doing how-to videos, we're doing my tutorials, we try to keep them pretty succinct and on task and pretty serious. And
There
our
has been alcohol involved.
on our Tuesday live streams, although there is
No. The best way to describe it, when you're doing a tutorial video, you're Bob Ross. When we're doing a
Yeah,
live
that's
stream,
true.
you're Rick Ross.
except when we're doing Saturday live streams, and then I'm more like Rick James. Get off my couch!
Oh, okay. Thank you, Gavin. I was unaware of what that phrase meant.
What's that?
Numpties.
Numpty.
Kind of mean idiots, but politely. Like idiot.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, like on the south. Oh, bless your heart.
Bless your heart.
yeah.
Oh God,
I have
smiles
an
on you,
aunt
Denny, sweetheart.
I'll pray for you.
Oh
God
man.
almighty. I don't know what is wrong with that boy, but God does love him something fierce.
Maybe your child is retarded.
He's special.
No, that's the translator. Like I really want to get one of those like voice translators. They're starting a technology where you can go to a foreign country where they don't speak English
Yeah.
as a language, like
And you can speak it and
it'll translate it.
Oh,
I want to get one that will translate like British and Australian slang, so I can go there and go like, oh, they're calling me a wanker.
Oh, I know what that means.
No, but I
don't
mean,
need to
And
go
it's
there
funny, you talk about that
that
technology. When I was working in the print center, we had some Chinese nationals coming in, and they were like, they needed to order something. They'd walk up, and they'd look right at me, and they'd lift their phone up and say something. And they'd turn the phone on and hit play, and they would translate it into English.
Oh, that's cool.
Not well though.
Not well. I'm like,
Well, it's because it does a literal translation.
well, no, it's not just the literal translation. Remember, it's also one of them robot voices trying to translate. And it's just like,
Don't pray for me.
Have you seen the tattoo? Like people get the Chinese symbol tattoos. Oh, it means rising sun or beautiful flower. That means egg foo young.
no, the best one is when you see the flip side of that.
Oh,
When you
American and
When you see, like in Malaysia, where they're wearing T-shirts and stuff that have English on them, makes them cool, and you read those shirts and you're like, well, some 22-year-old young man that's wearing a shirt that probably came from T-shirt hell and really wouldn't want to be wearing it if he knew what it meant. Language even I won't repeat on the air because no.
No, Mama knew.
oh yeah,
Didn't
yeah.
read it properly.
Nate's just talking about a servo being a servo station. That's like I remember right. Arvo is like, well, I'll see you in the afternoon. I'll see you in the Arvo. Nate, correct me if I'm wrong on that one because I probably am. I'm sorry for butchering your beautiful language.
See, the only things I know is that, like, and because somebody brought it up, like, I was so confused for the longest time because what we call an SUV or a truck,
Yes, Arvo is afternoon.
they have a different word for it in Australia, and in England they call them lorries.
Yeah.
But there's another word for it, and I'm like, for the longest time, because when I was a young lad, we didn't have internet. I was like, the hell is a lorry?
Something
What do you mean a
that runs your
lorry?
ass over.
It's a lorry. The hell is a lorry? So I go look it up in the dictionary because that's what my mom. Go look it up in the dictionary. That's not a word. Well, who am I going to ask now? I don't know any British people. I'm 16 in the United States. My only source of English language from
Big D,
England.
why is the phone bill so high this week?
Well, it was terrible because it's like when I was like 15, 16, my entire exposure to England was Doctor Who, Red Dwarf, Monty Python, and Warhammer. I mean, come on!
That reminds me. I need to add that damn toaster in.
Going on a rally.
You just call it going on a rally.
Oh, so, what would you say is your favorite part of painting a mini?
That no two people can see the same mini the same way.
Ooh, that's very nice.
That's
Very,
cool.
very deep.
Sorry, there's alcohol involved. But yes.
They all fixed up?
Yep.
Okay, y'all gonna take over as my
You
co-host?
happy
I'm gonna go private.
Hmm.
White, black, or gray?
I prefer gray because gray you can use contrast paints on it.
I like whites because I can use contrast when it shows up.
It
For black.
shows up on the
What do you like?
gray.
Dealer's choice.
It's gonna be
Surprise me.
white. It's gonna be white.
Nope.
It's gonna be clear.
There you go. That'll work though.
It will.
All right. So
Thank you.
keep chatting. I have to go outside.
All right, let's see. One of my favorite parts about Yep, what was it?
Wait, what was the question?
What's your
What's
favorite part of painting minis?
What's my favorite part of painting?
Yeah,
minis?
What's
you're
your favorite
currently
part?
hidden again.
What is my favorite part about painting minis?
You are seriously wrong door. It ain't the log.
There we go. Okay. What is my favorite part about painting minis? I like when I paint my minis. I like almost
Arbo is also known as beer o'clock, by the way.
Yes.
Australians are just down under.
They're
Oh no. So my favorite thing about painting is almost telling a story with painting. Like when I paint a mini, I have a story in my head. So like when I'm painting it, I want it to like if they have a battle scar or whatever, I want to paint it up to like paint. So I want when you look at a mini I painted, you can see a little bit of a story. If that makes any sense.
This guy's got a history. He's not fresh out of the academy or fresh from the bat, whatever it is. That's actually a really good idea. For me, it's kind of hard to explain because I like, and like you said, it's kind of like bringing a story to life. And okay then, oh jeez, that was my child.
Yes. Again, I'm dying.
But I also really, really, really love it when you're sitting there and you're painstakingly putting it all together, and then there's that aha moment when you realize, oh yeah, it's all coming together.
Thank you for remembering.
Yeah.
No touching.
I still love the second movie. It's so awful, but it's so great.
They made a sequel to that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's called Crunk's New Groove,
Oh, it's right.
where his dad was coming to see him and he was terrified.
Heinrich, with that trumpet at the back of Heinrich, Plague Child has come down with a new gift from Papa Nurgle.
Yeah, Papa Nurgle has once again Grandfather Nurgle has decided once again to show his love of our dear beloved Plague Child. And yeah. They have been quarantined to the other side of the house so that the rest of us,
It's not even supposed to be contagious.
we don't care. We are not taking any. Red Dwarf is the shit. I write a Doctor Who fanfic on fanfiction.net, and I have a Dalek in there that, based on the episode Dalek, which was, I think, episode 5 from the New Who with Eccleston back in 2005, where instead of letting go, Rose held on. So now it has an early 20th century 19-year-old's attitude with all of time and space at its fingertips, and it is a media junkie. So I want to put the
In your thing, if I'm reading, if I'm understanding this right, that Rose became the TARDIS.
no.
What?
I don't know anything of Doctor Who.
Okay. No, she's Bad Wolf.
At me, bros.
She becomes Bad Wolf. Bad Wolf is.
Oh yeah, the evil person.
No, that's the Valiant.
Again, no Doctor Who.
Okay. No, Bad
I'll
Wolf.
just keep jumping the gun until I get it right.
The Bad Wolf is basically the goddess of time. It's when Rose Tyler.
Really often.
Yeah, she basically bonded her mind and heart with the TARDIS, which is a sentient, organic, semi-organic space and time ship that the Doctor has been using forever.
One thing. Plague Child, you want to know what my entire understanding, the only thing of Doctor Who I've seen is apparently there was one doctor in one of the episodes of Doctor Who, he took Van Gogh to the future to see his art on.
Oh, dude, that is such a great episode.
Yes,
Well,
that
yeah, I thought
episode
it was
so
cool. I
cool.
just saw that little scene, and I'm like, oh, that's really touching and cool.
It-
I don't understand what the f going on, but
long story short, in that, Van Gogh was having a problem whether or not he should quit painting and whether or not it was worth it. You know, everything that he goes through. And so they took him to the future where they were showing.
you were gonna have but in the future, rich yuppies will pay millions of dollars for your art.
That wasn't really what they were
Cuts
trying
off
to
his other ear and his throat.
actually.
You're a horrible person. I
In
love
the
you.
show they indicated, in the show they indicate that he was hyper intelligent and he could see things that other people couldn't. That's why everybody thought he was crazy. He could literally see.
It wasn't him cutting off his ear and giving it to him. Don't say I listen now.
No, that was something else that caused that to happen. But no, they took him into the future and he to talk to the curator that was running this about what an underrated genius that Van Gogh would later be learned to be. It was a very interesting episode. It's very touching.
He would be recognized for his genius, but not from people at his time, but
Because
people
they
in the
all
future.
thought he was fucking nuts. in
He would
his
be
time.
justified in the eyes of history.
Yes.
Yes. And
And the guy talks about how he was such an influential person in the grand scheme of art that he was literally his art started a movement, and he was. And it's beautiful the way he talks about it. And Van Gogh realizes he's talking about him, and it's just like.
and to him, it was great. And he considered the Doctor one of his best friends. And they actually go. There's an episode the night that he died. They show later where Van Gogh, everyone's like trying to figure out what's wrong with him because he's just screaming over and over again. And it is the night that he would kill himself because he had a vision. He saw the TARDIS exploding, so he thought his best friend was dead.
Van Gogh was in more than one episode.
He shows up twice.
Oh.
But it's a really interesting show, Nate. Yes, that was actually the fourth Doctor, played by a man named Tom Baker. He is the shit.
Fourth Doctor, the new Doctor.
New Doctor.
There are 13 Doctors altogether.
I know there's 13, but
The fourth Doctor was Tom Baker.
yeah, but
Tom Baker,
which Doctor was showing Van Gogh? That was like
That was the 11th.
Was it both of them were Matt Smith?
No, yeah, that was Matt Smith.
So those are both Matt Smith.
That was during Matt Smith's run, so that was the 11th Doctor. Yep. And that was the psychopath in a fez that was a mass murderer.
Also, for some reason, my favorite Doctor.
And he's actually one of my least favorite Doctors.
I liked him at first. And then he kind of
It was the writing, and it's not his fault because his portrayal was spot on. It was just the writers.
So it was awful funny watching him fuck with the guy who played one of his companions, Rory.
On the other hand,
Pretty much played
speaking again, since we are talking about miniatures, I just recently was looking at a set of miniatures where Brett, you remember Brett?
Yeah.
He got the Doctor Who board game,
Yeah, shit.
and the board game has all 13 Doctors in it as figures. Plus, there's like a half dozen Daleks, and apparently there's add-on packs where you can get some of the companions and whatnot. So
Give me Rose Tyler, bitch.
Speaking of board games, we were gonna bring it today, but with all the pictures being taken and everything,
Excuse me.
we wouldn't get to it. We got our hands a hold of Space Marine Death Watch or Kill Team, or you get to play as a Kill Team. Tombs of the Necron.
I have
It's actually a board game. Got it at Target.
All right.
You would think I would like the Yorkshire talking bloke, but no. Yorkshire bloke? Which one was that? I don't really like the latest actress they've chosen for the female doctor. No interest. You just don't like.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not a big Heinrich apparently is not a fan of Jodie Whittaker.
I'm not either. I agree, Heinrich.
Who didn't you like?
Heinrich doesn't like Jodie, the current doctor.
I unfortunately haven't seen any of her episodes. I haven't. Matt Smith turned me off the show for a bit, so I eventually have to go back and watch it because the
I just want
doctor,
to watch
Peter
Capaldi.
Capaldi, I really want to watch Capaldi run. He looks really great. But unfortunately, 9 and 10 were just so good to me. They reminded me of why I love the show back in the 70s and 80s. So
we're gonna see because they have all we know is that yes, that Eccleston's Ninth Doctor is going to be portrayed in this new series, the multimedia platform. However, there is no confirmation that there are going to be any episodes or whether or not he is going to be returning as the voice.
Yeah.
He has not confirmed.
yeah, he might just be comic only.
Yeah, or in books, because apparently there's also they're releasing a series of books.
Yeah, it's a
they're
whole
talking about.
crossover series. Yeah.
It's really cool because they're really with this one. They're really explaining the time war for those of you who are familiar at all with this. As I've seen a couple of things where people are like, "Oh, I have no idea what you guys are talking about. Let's switch off back over."
You know, that'd be really fun though to do a set of Necrons,
Necron.
but to paint them all up to use Dalek proxies.
Only if I can have my Thor.
Yeah, he's one of your cryptex.
Yeah, so I got a Dalek. His name is Thorn, and apparently in this almost 50 chapter story, Thorn is the favorite character. Everyone's like, "Dude, Thorn is the shit," and I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna have to do an entire story just on this damn Dalek." I like the new lass, but Loads don't. She's like,
I think a lot of the problem that Jodie has is the fact that there's no urgency to the character, and
She's just very.
well, the problem is that they've got all these backup characters in the show, and they just kind of muddled the whole story from what I've seen. All right.
So moving on to a different topic.
So you like telling the story? You like looking at two different ways? I still haven't heard you answer.
I said it's kind of the same, kind of like what Nick said. For me, I like making a story, so to speak, and making them different from anything that anybody else has ever seen or thought of. Kind of fucking the brain. And then I also mentioned that, it's also so much fun when you hit that aha moment and everything starts to like seriously come together and you're seeing this concept that you created in your mind really coming together.
When you talk about the aha moment, like when everything looks good and right to you.
Yeah.
I can understand that because
How many times did you repaint that dude?
Which one?
The one that we photographed today.
The commissar?
Yeah.
No, the commissar. That wasn't an aha moment. That was me not knowing when to stop. That I'll get to that in a second. But no, the aha moment is finally this color scheme that I got for my Marines is the third color scheme. I went with a silver, gold, and blue. Didn't like it, and that's after I painted like half of the Dark Imperium box. So I stripped them all. Then I went to a.
Did you use simple green?
Yes, and then I did. This is before I met you. And then I did silver and a green. And I'm like, oh, this is really good. And painted half of my Dark Imperium box, and then I realized I didn't like it.
Oh.
And then I stripped them again with simple green. And then I did this one. But that's also how it happened to my knights too.
Were your other two iterations Imperial Fists as well?
No. Lore-wise, I mean, this is before the chapters came out and all that.
I know. I'm just saying, when you first did them, I mean,
They weren't like anything fancy like Space Wolf styled or Blood Angel styled or anything.
they were your own chapters.
Yeah, they were generic Marines. But then that also happened to my knights too. When I was painting I painted my first knight. I wanted to be like Dark Angel green because green's one of my favorite colors. And I painted up a whole knight, and then realized well, I don't like this. I don't like this how this turn. I'm like, well, let me go with red. And then painting the whole night red, and then realizing I don't like what that color is. So that I've gone through a lot of paint on some of my models.
Let's see. Nate mentions that he's excited because he's got a Warcry box set coming. Gavin is talking about the new last, but Loads Don't She is Lancaster. Thank you, but not Yorkshire, but mainly set in Sheffield. You kind of need to know where they're from. I am a stupid white American woman. Okay, I just.
So Warcry is one of the channel's favorite games. So I'm excited for you to get that box. It has a bunch of great terrain, and I love the two armies that are in there. There's a lot of fun ways to paint that terrain. I did mine similar to the way they did theirs in the tutorials, but not at the same time. Because I painted it all in a medium gray. I primed it in a medium gray. Then I gave it a heavy dry brush in a very light gray, and then a really deep high brushing in white. And then I washed it all in Colia green shade. Like I used a bottle and a half of Colia green shade and just doused all of it in this green shade. So, and then I went back and I did a dry brush in the white again. Did you grab a Warcry box next to you?
So, Gavin, that is actually my child. That is the plague child who just decided to come over next to me and infect me with their with Grandfather Nurdle's love. Thanks, honey. They're not feeling very good. That's why they're hiding. I'm not taking no chances, man.
There's literally no way for
I don't think any of you
we are. We're just not
my
commenting.
bodily disability. You have plenty of squirrel moments, Dad. You should know this thing.
So then
And hi.
I doused it all in Colia green shade.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't actually greet you there, brother.
Hey, Al, how you doing?
Yeah, he's been here for a bit.
Yeah. And then I took, I did everything in Balthasar Gold in the metal. I did Balthasar Gold and then used Nylic Oxide, kind of washed that,
Very
all the
nice.
metal in Nylic Oxide.
Makes sense.
And then I just did the wood, actually, since it was painted in a medium gray to start off with, I just used Gore-Grunt of Fur contrast to make the wood kind of a dark, ruddy wood. And I did my whole set like this. And like I said, there's no wrong way to do it. I mean, it's a beautiful set of terrain. I'm really tempted, I'll be honest.
Oh no, Gavin, you're fine, honey.
Yeah, there's a box set. There's a box set of the terrain. That's just the terrain. It's one of their Warcry battle zones. Because I love this terrain so much, I'm thinking about picking up one of those battle zone boxes just to add another layer of this. Because to do a fantasy battle on a full table that's mainly this stuff would just be really cool looking. And the box, the box comes with a crap ton of terrain in it. Again, I really love Warcry. I love being able to. I'm a big fan of Kill Team as well. And don't get me wrong, I love 40K, I love AOS, but I like being able to sit down, play a game, and 45 minutes later, be done with the game and either move on to another game or continue with the discussion. And that's what Warcry is even better for that than Kill Team is. I mean, Kill Team, you can have a game go for an hour and a half easy. Warcry, pretty much, it's if everybody knows the rules, 45 minutes in and out, you're done. So,
unlike Mr. Man over here, my dear husband, 3 hours later, he's still in a 500-point game. It just
that's
depends
regular.
on how you play it.
That's 40K. We were at a tournament. Not a tournament, a league, and not everybody was familiar with the rules. And we took a while to get started. And
Every time.
Was that one where you sent the whole yourself inquisitorial barge time over it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was that one.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that is the one thing when you're playing with organized play. If people aren't driven to play fast, people will drag out just because they're having fun interacting and forgetting to continue the game on. And
You're all a bunch of nerds.
I mean, I loved it. Don't get me wrong. I played a game a week for 16 weeks. Every week I played a game of Warhammer, so 40K. So it was good because I was fairly new to back to 40K at that point. I had been out for about 15 years, 20 years at that point. So getting to play 8th edition every week for basically 4 months was great.
Nate also says he was looking at Kill Team as well. Miniocalypse says he is in the same process with his Marines and picking his colors, Commodore. Gavin says Nottingham, the home of tabletop gaming.
Absolutely, it definitely is. I think, we were talking about the reason I was asking everybody, because, I mean, honestly, my favorite part of miniatures in the painting process.
Seeing how many you can paint as quickly as possible.
No, I don't enjoy that part. Actually, I would think you would know what my favorite part is.
Building them?
Building.
Yeah, but that's not what you asked. You asked painting.
No, getting them ready to paint.
That's not what you said.
I did. I asked what is your favorite part of the miniature painting process. That was the question.
But that's not painting. That's not part of the painting
Yes,
process.
it is.
That's part of building a miniature.
Yes, see, that is part of the process because
Okay.
before you can paint it, you have to get it ready to paint. You have to put it together.
No, let the live chat decide.
You have to put it together. You have to prime it, and you have to decide how you're painting it. And my part when I'm building it, because when I'm putting it together, because I like minis that have more than one color, and when I'm deciding how I'm putting them together and how I want them to tell the story and all the great parts of it, a lot of that is told as you're building that figure. Because you can build all your figures so they all just stand like this. I'm a dude with a gun. But you look at my wolves. I've got 3 squads of wolves. I got 3 wolf packs from 3 different places, and I built them all. They're all built and primed and half painted. And
True statement, ladies and gentlemen.
And no 2 of them look alike.
I should also point out, ladies and gentlemen, that if you are ever painting with the Gamecraft Dragon and he likes your stuff, make sure you prime them as soon as possible. You won't touch them if they're primed. No, he'll still take them if they're lit. They have to be primed. Prime them, then lick them. Just wait till the prime is dry. Who got time for that? Well, apparently.
I think I'm looking at these intersections going, what are you doing with those intersections?
Painting is better than building sometimes, but building has its pluses, says Gavin.
I actually quite enjoy the building process because sometimes I can lose the drive for the painting, but like building, it always is something that's really enjoyable.
It's very mindless in a way that it helps you clear your mind. You're not thinking about your troubles. You're not thinking about your bills or anything like that. You're just focusing on this sheer, simple pleasure.
Simple is an interesting word for it.
Well,
it's far from a simple process.
It's far.
Building for me is, I hate to say it, building is pretty, it's not even mindless. It's
therapeutic.
It's therapeutic. I mean,
building can be therapeutic and mindless depending on what you're building.
True.
You put together a squad of Marines, pretty simple. You're putting together like an orc truck where the instructions don't make sense.
Oh my god, that was great.
Or your command barge where they don't tell you which side it should be flipped on.
They just go here.
But after I built
Or
my
a
first
spirit host.
Or instructions. Open box. Assemble minis. Done.
Yeah. Let's see. Meek says if you don't build them and prep them right, you can paint a golden demon quality. You paint
English.
I'm trying to.
Yeah, I don't hate.
If you don't build them and prepare them right, you can paint a golden demon quality, but if it's not prepared cleanly, it will look like crap.
Yes. Turd is still a turd.
Thank you, Peanut.
It's the truth.
Let's see here. We got Gavin says Models for Heroes, a charity. Hot dinner plate. Hello, welcome. I don't think I've seen your name pop up
Hello,
yet.
hot dinner plate.
Building can be really frustrate me sometimes. It's fun most of the time, but there is always at least one model for me that just becomes my nemesis. That would be Spirit Hosts for me.
Okay,
The
so
orc truck.
for me,
Redemptor's
this was
Dreadnought.
very simple. The gun part of the
Really?
Annihilation Barge
front
was
part
simple.
where the-
It was just 1, 2, 3. And it was just kind of nice, just everything kind of clicked together.
So that's what I'm counting so far. I mean, I'm trying. There's other
This
things out there.
thing,
We had to pull that damn thing apart for my poor child.
Yeah.
No,
and this thing, like, there's parts of it that are like messed up and melted because I could not get them the right way, and they were just.
Thanks for
Annoying.
stopping by, Mini Apocalypse. Have a wonderful
Hey,
evening.
Vagos, appreciate it. I love this. I love the freaking.
I like how it's supposed to be an APC and it's basically a 10.
Well,
You know, you guys are interrupting right now.
Oh, we are. We're sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, we were talking here. Tell your.
yeah, sorry.
Like there's different parts of everything that can be very complicated if either you don't read something right or accidentally put something the wrong way or something is complicated or the instructions don't make any sense or don't state something that needs to happen.
Open box.
Open box, assemble. Put here.
Which
Good job there.
which model was it that had the assemble minis instructions?
I don't remember. I think that was an older one. Al says priming is overrated.
Not for minis.
Not for minis. Unfortunately, yes, for you in the model industry that do models that are never touched again, priming may be secondary. My lovely wife found out she had a couple of minis that we thought were primed but were not,
I got
and we airbrushed them red, and then she started dry brushing. And the first time the brush hit that red, it peeled it right off.
What paint were you guys using?
so Matt. It wasn't primed.
They weren't primed. It didn't.
Oh yeah, there's something for the paint.
Yeah, the mini wasn't primed. So, and we just did a spray of Mephiston red on there.
Oh, the army.
No, Mephiston.
Yeah, the army.
Citadel.
The Citadel. The army. It's supposed to be like their primer and.
No.
No.
No, I
Oh,
just
out of
an
the air?
airbrush.
Oh.
She had a mini. I went airbrushed over it because we thought they were primed, and I had a bunch of red paint left over. We're like, all right, well, let's get these guys painted red. And then she went, what? Yes.
Okay.
And then she
Well,
went to
actually,
go
it was
dry brushing it, and peeled the red. Hey, up!
It
We're
was
like,
actually one of my storm casts. Tuesday we reprimed it, and by the time we were done, I was almost finished with the bloody thing. Because simple paint schemes. Oh yeah. But my shit looks a lot more complicated than it is.
yeah. I mean, like I said, I love the build process. I mean, and the thing is, I'm a fast builder. I'm the first to admit that. I got that should be almost done by now.
Nate says, I used to work as a spray painter with cars, so no primer is just not a thing. Always prime. Aha, Al, you've been told.
I got
Correct.
I got the Apocalypse box for the orcs. So it was 6 kilocans, 2
Which, by the way, are adorable creatures.
6 kilocans, 2 death treads, a mech, and a big mech with a shock attack gun. I opened the box on I think I opened the box on Tuesday.
Something like that.
No, I got it on Tuesday. I was showing it off on the stream on Tuesday. I popped it open Wednesday.
Oh yeah, no, you actually had it longer than that because you were like so excited, but you were like, I'm not going to touch this until I finish my other orcs, and that lasted a day.
And so on Wednesday, I popped it open. I built them all. By Friday, I was priming them.
That's what he does. And he wonders why I'm like, I need to paint girls for.
You don't need to paint faster. I build quick, and I use a lot of very simple techniques. I think my miniatures look pretty good, but I use a lot of simple techniques, and I'm not nearly. Honestly, I look at Commodore here, and he has a very clean paint scheme. His figures are beautifully clean, and they really, really look sharp. I mean,
Yeah, that's
they're
one of the
just-
things I always envy. is just
they're
how sharp you
super-
get that.
super sharp
Yellow.
looking. It's a beautiful, clean yellow.
So,
It's just a beautiful figure. Just really amazing work. Again, the Nightly Gamer on Instagram. Check him out. Good stuff.
so Hot Dinner Plate says, I bought an emulator.
An emulator, okay?
Yeah, I've yet to build it. It's my first vehicle. Any tips on how to go building it? Should I build it then paint, or should I paint then build?
Okay. The emulator, if I remember right, is the Sisters of Battle
Rhino with the flamethrower.
Rhino with the flamethrower.
Oh, jeez. Can you say overkill? These ones are a little extreme.
Okay, so I'm in the midst.
Wow.
I'm in the midst of building a Rhino right now. I just finished building it and I primed it.
We
My-
in this house tend to build then prime.
Yeah, we tend to. I tend to build and then prime and then paint. Now, if there are pieces that are
Gonna be
movable,
hard to reach. I'd say if there are pieces that are hard to reach for you to paint, I'd say you paint those and then out. But I would never. I don't know if Hot Dinner Plate is saying they're going to keep them on the sprue, but I know some people that keep things on the sprue, prime them, paint them up to fully, and then click them out, and then you have that weird just kind of.
I would never do that.
I have seen people do that.
And I don't.
Lorenzo does.
I've seen some people do it really well because it's a way to kind of hold them. Like
Mhm.
if you can hide the spot where that was, like I've seen a lot of people do with like heads and faces, because like
Because I'll put it in the neck.
mhm.
But with a vehicle, I don't know. Unless there's some big parts that are hard to reach, I would fully assemble and then paint. But if there are some harder to reach spots, and you know it by looking at the model itself, I'm also a firm believer if there's hard to reach spots to build in sub-assemblies. So you have multiple pieces, and then instead of using modeling glue, you use super glue to put the pieces together.
Yeah.
But again, your mileage will vary. When I built my knights, obviously I had to build my knights in multiple sub-assemblies, just because you can't even manipulate something that big around.
Okay, so now I know on that. Models for Heroes is a charity that takes models that you don't use. You donate them.
Cool.
Kids,
Yeah.
the kids are not going to use. So the kids can put them together.
That's a great charity.
So thank you for letting us know about that. I did not know.
Yeah.
I may have to donate and just rebuy some things later. I'm a sucker for donations.
I think it's a great source for some easy build kits too.
Well, I was thinking, you know, it's a this.
No, you cannot.
Send them out a bunch of slanted stuff.
Negative. We don't even own any slashy stuff.
Thank you for your donation. Please never send us any ever again.
But no, that sounds like a great charity.
Wayne, how did you get banned from a donation?
Wait, what?
Making jokes about Inquisitors. Because he's not here to defend himself.
Unless he's born
He would
based
send
on
the
that.
old Forge World version of the Keeper of Secrets then.
Rather than anatomy left in it.
How many boobs does she have?
Actually, I'm
Not
fairly
enough. Put more on.
Actually, I'm fairly positive those weren't all boobs. Some of those looked like eyes.
No, they're boob eyes, which is even better.
Oh, okay, we are like so done. I think I saw that anime. I usually partially assemble my models, prime, paint, then complete the assembly. Thank you for your advice.
You know, and again, it's all about what your comfort level is too. Like when I'm painting Marines, I almost always fully assemble the Marines except for the heads, so I can paint the heads in higher detail and then glue them in. If they're doing faces, if they've got helmets, helmet goes on. Helmet goes on the Marine.
Oh, Models for Heroes is for soldiers.
Yes, it helps people with PTSD.
Oh, then that's seriously. As a veteran myself, then I totally get that. That's really awesome.
I wonder if I should sit down. I can always rebuy my Corvus Cabal, right?
You could.
Hellchild.
Hey, what's up,
Hey.
Hellchild?
Hello, my brother. What is Helen?
So
How's the kit bashing coming along?
what was your first Warhammer kit?
Warhammer Fantasy 5th edition or 6th edition Firebox. It was the one where it Orcs versus Empire, which is probably like almost all of them. Yeah, it was 5th, and it was either 5th or 6th. It was Warhammer Fantasy. Empire versus Orcs.
Best time to go grill, huh, child?
And I made the mistake of I looked on the artwork and I saw, oh, you paint them red and white, the Tamerlane faction of the Empire, and I'm like, I'll paint red and white. I did not know how to paint red and white like that.
Set up a lot of pink, huh?
A little bit. I couldn't get my lines clear that way. Yeah, but that was it. And it was weird because it was actually how I met some of my best friends in high school, because I was painting them, I brought them in, and we didn't know we both played Warhammer. Like, oh, sure, these little hobby stuff. Like, oh, you play Warhammer? Yeah, I play Warhammer. You guys play Warhammer? Yeah, that's how I met some of my best friends. And then it was funny because I had bought primer and actually primed my models. They didn't prime their model. They literally just took model that was gray, painted, and then like it was good. Like axes that were supposed to be silver were still gray plastic. It hurts now to think about those models.
Our first models are often, like that.
What about you?
Now,
What
I
was your
know. Well, it's just got into their first Warhammer. So, what were your first models?
First models?
Well, talking miniatures. Let's talk
Miniatures, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because models, yeah, that was
Then we're
many
talking.
moons ago. What my first? Actually, it was a Reaper Mini. It was a little elf bard that she's got this gorgeous corset. She's got this pixie haircut, and she's holding an electric guitar.
Nice.
That was my first mini that I painted.
Let's see. Hellchild says that he is growing at 9:40 at night.
Good man.
Al says, I know a guy in England that does a lot with models for heroes. And Gavin says, Warhammer HQ has a tank outside.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Don't die, please.
Has a tank and a big ass marine.
Like, everyone knows, but like my first Warhammer miniatures were Emperor's Children, which did
No,
not go.
that's not true.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not. Your first Warhammer
Oh, wait,
figure.
Stormcast.
That's correct.
My first, it was a Stormcast I painted at the store.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't fully, my first finished Warhammer mini was an Emperor's Children.
That went into that.
That went into that. And then after Emperor's Children, just the size. But my first miniature was one that I painted for a D&D game I did. I think it was a halfling. She was like, she just came out from one of the many boxes of miniatures we had, and I painted her to look like my tiny little robe.
Let's see. Gavin says he's down the road from Warhammer, and his first were Imperial Guards.
Yeah.
I never painted a figure, period, until I bought Stormstrike.
So her first figure was a GW figure. She's spoiled. Her first figures are some of the best figures out there.
So that leads to another question. For first figures, you guys would still have your first figures, so you've seen where you progressed from.
Yeah.
I still will have one of my first figures from this go around, because a lot of people try and get out of the hobby, but they always get brought back in.
It's kind of like playing World of Warcraft. You think you quit, and then the first master is right here.
Nice. So I actually brought one of my first.
Yeah.
But I couldn't stop and leave it alone. So I don't know what my progress is, because I kept going back and touching it up and touching it up and touching it up and adding on to it and fixing things. I've now officially clear coated, so I can no longer really touch it anymore.
You know what the worst thing is? My very first figure I painted is right there. I've been repainted 4 times in my career. It's the very first figure I ever painted.
Let's see.
He's been repainted 4 times. He's been
Hellchild.
stripped completely down and repainted.
my dear brother Thomas, says, old 30 Marines box, 3 Rhinos, and 2 Land Raiders were the first GW miniatures I got, followed by a Blood Angel metal Termy box. My first miniature, though, was a Ralph Partha Evil Knight.
This was the Rel Partha Barbarian. And I've had him since and I want to make a point. This is what the first figure I painted. I had figures before him. I actually had 2 boxes of the TSR figures when they used to come in the old Rel Partha lead box with the lead on them. There's stuff on there. And I got those boxes, and I never painted them because I can't paint, so I didn't paint them. So I played a D&D with a shoebox full of pure lead, unprimed, unpainted, uncleaned, anything figures.
So did your doctor tell you, like, Adrian, you have lead poisoning?
What?
Did you
What do you mean?
Did you play with a lot of lead models in the 80s?
Okay, let's see.
The paint chip
Gavin
shooter.
says that for him, it was all for first vehicles. It was a Basilisk and a Chimera.
Hey, you
I
know,
love the Basilisk.
This
It's
is
such
my
a
first
simple- It's such a simplistic.
I got some pictures taken of my Chimeras today.
Let's see. Heinrich says his first was the Metal Gray Knights, just as they came out in Terminator armor. Had no clue what to do with them, but it was an awesome model.
Dude, I had them, and that's funny because we didn't know what Grey Knights really were. They were just these awesome looking Terminators with these giant pole axes. They were awesome looking figures. I have a set of 4 of them. And how do you know how to put them together? They had 4 parts. There was a body, 2 arms, and a pike. That was it. They were made in metal. And they're in that box. When the 2 arms go on, you couldn't mess them up. There were 2 arms. One was like this, one was like this. They put on the thing. And
I mean, like, how do you attach them?
Let's see. Well, you guys have that.
Super glue.
Gavin said I did a few epic stuff. Hellchild said I have a lot of those old TSR miniatures. Demon Hunters, Heinrich declares, before they were Grey Knights.
Yeah.
Lovely models.
That's the thing. I had those Grey Knights. I got them and I painted up in gray.
Yeah, 4 lights.
I got those figures and I painted them up in gray in Space Wolves colors because they were Space Wolves. Because everything I had was Space Wolves. They're Grey Knights. They're Grey Knight Space Wolves. Because I didn't know any better. They're Terminator. Grey Knights are a special kind of Terminator. They're
Old bionic-legged Inquisitor in Terminator armor, says Hellchild.
Oh, that's an old figure, gosh. Yeah, that's up there with those metal Grey Knights. I mean, that's like early 90s.
Alrighty, folks, we are now over an hour into this, and so we are going to do a quick shout-out to all of our lovely patrons. We have our level 1 patrons.
Our Battle Brothers. We have Inquisitor Zane and Mini War Mutt, our 2 Battle Brother levels.
And the second level, which, if you decide to join this, which is $3 a month, you have access to our full Discord server.
We have 2 members of that. We have Joe Bookish and Heinrich Botha.
Yeah. And then our level 3, which is $10 a month, ladies and gentlemen, and that enters you to a quarterly drawing, as well as access to all of our wonderful
Actually, you know
stuff.
what? It is time for a quarterly drawing.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. We did one a month ago.
Really,
When you got the
it was only like a month ago.
No, because when did you guys start your Patreon?
Right, but we didn't have the membership right away. The next one we're doing is in June.
yeah, so it's next month.
The second one. Yeah.
All right,
Well-
so our level 3,
Our level 3s, Alex Drake,
the Model Master.
Model Master. We have
The Commodore.
and we have James. Sorry, I just had another glass of Bailey, so I'm having a morning here.
Morning.
So James Meeks.
It's 9 o'clock Sunday.
Yeah, it's been a night. So yes, Straight, Commodore, and James Meeks, our 3 level 3 patrons, our Warlord level patrons. We thank all of you guys.
Seriously.
Patreon or not, we thank y'all for being here with us and hanging out with us. And
For those of you who have not yet gone and checked this out, we recently hit 500 subscribers, and thus we are doing a 500 subscriber giveaway. There are going to be 2 types of giveaways. One is a pay it forward box that was started by the Miniatures Paintbrush, TMP, and has made its way all the way to us. To qualify for that one, all you got to do is watch the 500 subscription, leave a comment, but you have to have a channel that produces content regularly. The second one we have is just for our
subscribers. So the subscriber one is you just gotta watch the video. You'll see the instructions in there. We're giving away 2 things. The pay it forward box is for a channel producer, people that are producing content. It's a way for us content producers to kind of encourage others to promote their own channel and promote their own skill and promote what they're doing. You set a goal for yourself as far as a subscriber level. When you hit that subscriber level, you pay the box forward. This box started off with Rob at TMP, went to the Frost and Fist, and then went to Nick at IDIC Beer, and finally made its way to me.
Yes.
Tuesday, we'll be announcing the winner. So
Yes.
you only got a couple more days to get your name in there for either the channel pay it forward box or the subscriber box.
It is possible to enter into both if you happen to be a content provider channel.
And there is no requirement on the subscriber other than you be a subscriber and leave a comment in that video.
For further instructions, please watch the video and it will tell you exactly what you need to do.
Now, also at the hourly mark, we're doing our quick shout-outs. I have an Instagram. It is Gamecraft Dragon, Lady Dragon 28, the Nightly Gamer with a K for Nightly. And your Instagram, which is...
I'm not entirely sure which one is it.
Yeah,
The one that you probably want to use is J Drake Photo.
J Drake Photo. Check us out on Instagram and the Plague Child on Instagram. I'm forgetting about you because you're dead over there.
You look like death.
Yeah, you got.
Go lay down.
Go
We've
lay
been
down.
trying to.
Go lay down, please. You're not feeling well. Go lay down.
It's only so far.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
you
all right. We also have merch out on Teespring. You'll find a link to it on some of our videos, where we have T-shirts, cups, socks,
leggings. No,
leggings.
Still no socks.
Did you take the socks back off?
I never put them back on.
You better put them back on. All right. So we have leggings.
I can
We have
smell your
shirts.
feet over here. And Zane just screamed, "No!"
I will chuck something at you and I will not.
Same thing,
feel that
California. I smell something.
So
My ears are burning.
if you find this video entertaining and you find our madness enjoyable, please hit that like button. That helps us out. That lets YouTube know that we're doing our job at entertaining you guys while we talk about general nonsense, general geeky nerdiness. So, and that's what we're all about.
If you are not yet subscribed, please hit that subscribe button.
Ring that bell. And we will continue on.
Gavin says that if he is accidentally picked, please give it to someone else. Gavin, you can only get picked if you are entered into the drawing. You have to enter yourself, darling. If you don't enter yourself, it doesn't work.
And it's only people that comment in the 500 subscriber video. So remember that, folks.
See, Gavin also says 148 tactics is decent, a quick and easy game.
148 tactics, okay.
And then, I'm sorry, you do every time you come and see this, come and say hello to us. I always know I say your name wrong, and I'm sorry, but hi, it's nice to see you again. You have not been in the chat. Haven't seen you recently, honey.
Lady Dragon, DKTB. There you go. DKTB. It's DKTB.
We'll just call him DK.
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 DK is good.
Now I'm thinking of the Donkey Kong rap. DK. Donkey Kong.
Everybody loves dancing.
I'm just.
Yes,
Yes, I think. Oh. No, you don't have my phone.
Go look up on your phone.
Their phone's dead, you jackass.
I would if I could.
Oh my god.
Somebody needs to charge their phone.
We've been trying to.
Your phone's broke.
It's broke, yo, man.
I actually upgraded my phone, so I have an old iPhone 6S.
It's broken.
I mean, the only thing that sucks on it is
Your truffle.
it needs to stay in the charger
What?
case.
Yeah,
It works. Someone calls you, you have to put them on speaker. You can barely hear people.
Well, we're gonna actually, if I get my check, the check there right now. All right. There's nothing else. I can get another battery for 6S.
No, it holds the charge. It's just like if you take it out of the charging case, like it'll drain pretty fast. That's why I have it in a charging case. I can charge it back up.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
I mean, the only issue with it is, but if you're calling somebody or you get called,
They're on speaker the whole time anyhow. It doesn't matter. That's all they do with their phone.
you barely. It's really hard to hear.
No, they're on speaker all the time anyhow. You don't know the show.
It's because I can't hear people in the first place.
Like I said.
Well, maybe we should have a discussion about how loud you listen to your music.
No,
You know,
this is not me.
even though they're show tunes, still too loud.
The reason for my
All right.
loud
So
music is
while
because I
we're
have-
continuing this conversation, I'm going to quick pop out the tree. No, I'm not going to pop out the tree. I'm going to wait till I go out there because that'll be right in front of the camera. Oh gosh, no! Don't give me that look with your puppy dog eyes.
Pop off. Oh, tree. I'm like, I think you said tree. I'm like, what tree?
No.
Right.
So
As in the 3D printer.
Show off their 3D printer, sir.
yes, we just did some fresh
Oh, that
pieces.
sexy shirt you've got on there. Big
My nuclear yellow shirt.
You're pretty scared.
Jesus.
My eyes.
You're pretty
Honey,
scared.
my shirt's still on. You can't say that.
No, his nuclear yellow.
Dude, his shirt ain't got shit on how pale.
Well, we're not Frost and Fist. We don't get the crazy spaghetti strap shirts.
No, I'm not even going to talk about them. Fucking Teespring.
Yeah, we're not talking about that.
I been a Teespring customer a month longer than they were, but no, they get an offer to sale, not me. No.
Probably because I got a whole bunch of shit. And in all honesty, if I wanted to put our crap on sale, yeah.
Have another drink.
Words.
You'll give me your thing because there's no more daiquiri, so I'm going to finish up your drink.
No,
Yes,
it's my drink.
No, it's not. Not anymore, it's not.
No, it's my drink.
Not anymore, it's not.
Okay, come on.
Go get me another one then.
Yeah, I'm doing.
So, what the hell was I talking about?
So, printed.
Oops.
Well, nice.
Oops. Okay. Really? Were we talking about boobs?
Yeah, spaghetti strips. We actually were.
You know,
That is
the
on
reason
top.
why I didn't wear that shirt tonight is because I thought I would be polite to my alcohol.
People like your alcohol?
Our viewers.
She is such a Wisconsin right now.
One of us.
One of us. One of us. She hasn't been a person from California since.
I wasn't a person from California when I got here. Did you see me? I'm not blonde. I'm not tanned. I don't say dude. I don't go fit.
Even though my memory somehow is like, I thought you were blonde at one point.
Oh my god, everybody keeps seeming to think that. I was never blonde. I had highlights, motherfucker.
That's not what my dream said.
Yeah, well, you know what? Let's have a talk about your drink. Are you seriously drinking?
I'm sorry.
Are you seriously drinking alcohol after your stomach was that upset?
Actually, I figured out what it was.
I do not care.
Yeah, no, not a good idea. We'll see.
You start throwing up again. I'm not.
I actually feel a lot better.
I'm sure you do. Okay, so anyway, I have lost my train of thought. Squirrel. My name is Doug, and I love you, squirrel. Chat. What was I talking about?
You were talking about why you're not wearing that shirt.
Well, for one thing, it's not a damn shirt.
But you were talking about something about sales.
Oh yeah, the Tea Fury sale. If we really wanted to do a sale, honey, I just have to tell the site, tell them I want to do a sale on this. We have that there. Now, what they did for Frosty Fist, I don't know
Whatever.
what that was all about.
That's not a big deal.
But yes, we have merch, and I designed it all, so be careful.
If you're not aware, my wife, Lady Dragon, is an incredible artist.
And at least you keep saying I am.
You are. You
You're
are.
an artist to the point where people have taken your pictures and rendered them so we could print them in 3D and give them to people to use in their armies.
Speaking of also which, you're an artist in the fact that people want to pay you, give you money to have
You
you
do
art.
That's
commissioned
what I was
art.
about to say.
You do commissioned art, so shut up.
Yeah.
Go get your art.
Go get it.
Yeah, shut up.
But then it wasn't standing up.
Child.
No.
I don't trust them to retrieve my art without damaging the rest of it. Which one do you want me to get?
I don't care.
The Delph one, the
I don't
Mythos
care.
one.
Anything.
Fine.
Whichever.
I refuse.
Yeah, well, you know what? You don't even know what the hell it is.
Yeah, I said I do.
Well, good luck.
I like. All right. So, as he is such a good buddy to me, I am printing some Space Marine arms with hammers for my guy here. These will have to go into the UV cure.
Alcohol.
All right. So my slightly tipsy ass. All right. So here we go. First things first. Ugh. Yes, I have a few things. Give me one. All right. So first things for your viewing pleasure. Recently was rendered, and we are working on actually having this put on a paint cup that is the brand new, soon to come Gamecraft Dragon logo. Pretty proud of it. Pretty easy.
Although it is mirrored right now.
Heinrich, did you ever get a chance to vector it?
Yes, he did. You didn't see the cup.
I saw the cup. He
had to vector it.
He hasn't given me the image back yet. And so I didn't know. Oops, something went wrong.
Goodbye, I'm going to lay it back down.
All right.
Bye.
So next one I have is original characters for an upcoming image or story that I'm writing.
Webcomic that we're doing.
Yep. It needs to be scanned so that I can color it and add its effects in. So yes, I'm very proud of how this one turned out. I was really, really psyched out about it. And yeah, main guy in the center. Yes, he is. He thinks he's a sexy bitch, so he dresses accordingly. Thank you very much, dinner plate. All right, so next, for your viewing displeasures, I have two that were actually commissions. This one was commissioned for me by Mythos of the Frosting Fist, of his Wolf Lord, and his trusty, it's fine, Gavin, of his Wolf Lord and his Wolf Lord's trusty mount with the Thunder Cavalry. So I was pretty happy. I do have this one scanned. I am in the working on coloring it. And then this one was commissioned to me by my patron, Joe Bookish. He wanted 3 Grats wearing a Commodore's or Commissar's jacket. So here you go. I had a little too much fun with this one. So there's that one.
No, I gotta click them. Then
Okay. So there was that one. And then both of those are scanned. You can find both of those also on my Instagram. And then the last one is a current work in progress. The owner of said picture is, thank you very much. And this is actually the current one that I am working on still. This was commissioned to me by our very own Hellworks by Hellchild. This is the image of his captain of his with a Twitch logo on top. This is his the leader of his Eclipse Stalkers, which is a custom-made chapter of the Space Wolves, if you couldn't tell. This axe is actually available on 3dcult.com, or you can go to Thingiverse, look up, we have those printable. So that's pretty cool. And my favorite part of this entire picture was learning how to write in Futhark all around this thing. So it was pretty cool. So, yep, there's that. And eventually, if you can kind of see the small little drawings over here of the battle as it's coming to its end. Oh, and I need to do that one up there. Ah! Thank you very much. So that is some of my work. I do have a lot more, but I don't feel like trying to dig them out right now because, frankly, I have a little too much alcohol in my bloodstream. So,
You have too much blood in your alcohol stream.
not in this case. So, yes. That's what I do because I enjoy it. I love drawing. I've always been a fan of it. So, all right. So, there. Now that I feel like I've made myself into a bit of a monkey.
So she's been painting on canvas for about 20 plus years. It was one of the reasons I wanted to introduce her to mini painting, which I did about a year ago.
Hi, Squid Boss.
Big boss, what is up, my man?
Oh, Gavin, don't you even worry one bit about your sense of humor. I live with this guy.
You're all good. Everybody here is good as long as we are mostly family friendly.
And besides,
And
we deal with Inquisitor Zane. Darling, you are nothing compared to him.
you're all good, my man. You are all good. We are a friendly, happy sort. So
Especially when we've been drinking. Yeah! What was that? I knocked it over. Okay. Once again, my chair is trying to eat my skirt. Nobody wants to see that. Well, okay, so what was I doing before?
painting.
Squid Gloss wants to know. Squid Gloss wants to know how we are.
We're doing quite well. We're spending some quality time. My lovely niece came over today to hang out and take some wonderful pictures of some figures for us, as she is an amazing photographer. And we were just eating spaghetti, drinking daiquiris, and painting and messing with figures. You
And
don't
there's some
count.
death coming in from the other room.
You don't count. You're not a person.
I'm a person.
You're not a people.
Why is there an air for your lead belcher in?
Because it probably fell in there.
Wow. Did you do? Lead wet for the blood god.
That's a technical paint.
Yeah. Okay, never mind. And
We're not excited anymore?
No.
and to bring a box back with her. What?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
She has a box, but she
Have a
has.
box?
I have to go upstairs and get it. I have a box upstairs for her dad.
Ow! I may need to stop before I like injure myself. Why did I have this? Oh, he's so precious.
That is the joy of the 3D printer.
Yeah. I like my joy. I
It's adorable. This is, look at this thing. This is bright. This is, a couple hours ago, this was liquid. This was goo.
Yes, it was.
This goo.
All right.
Goopy.
Here we go. Adrian's Big D's favorite part of me doing my night haunts. Daughter. Nope. No, that was Gavin. I think he's talking about Blake Child.
What?
Nothing. Go to sleep. Talking about you, to you.
I will go on YouTube.
Okay. Why? All right. Finally got done. I give up. I'm not talking anymore.
No, you're sure.
I
That will not last very long.
I can continue talking though.
You don't have what? Pink what? You can pink? You can pink? I have pink. What kind of pink do you
The pink pink? Pink, 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 pink.
Pink.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna kick off the next set of prints.
What do you think now?
You print more wolf stuff?
Yep. I got stuff to go out to my man Meeks. All right, let's see here. She has quite some skills. You got some. You were sorting some of your humble. Well, can you put the dog up, please? Just quick going over. Da, 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 da. Will. Never mind. If you could please lay it back. All right. Just quick going up. Yeah, we're doing good. Things in front of 200 tins, 150 colors. Yeah, that sounds about right for you. We actually finally had to get an overflow box for our paints because I got a number of extra from Vallejo. You use pretty much a full range of stuff. You pretty much just stick with Citadel, don't you? For the most part.
I've actually only really. I've tried. Most of my paints are Citadel. I've done a little bit of Vallejo. Dabble with like your Vallejo. I actually just used the Vallejo's brush-on primer. I really like it.
Okay.
It's good for. I mean, I wouldn't use it to touch up like prime a whole model or whatever, but like touch up spots that are missing. Good.
Okay.
I mean,
But you were pretty much a Citadel kid. I mean, did you ever really play a lot of D&D?
mm-hmm.
Oh, you did?
High school and college and now and
Really?
still.
Really? Okay. You guys using figures and stuff? Huh.
And with whatever.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Are you serious? I told you he does. I've told you a couple of times he does.
Yes, you didn't tell me in front of the camera. We're having a conversation.
I sent you.
We're having a conversation in front of the camera, guys.
I gave you guys encounters or not encounters
Maps.
maps. No
Nice.
sessions.
So
sessions like
now you know when a talk show,
requests.
when a talk show host brings an actor on to talk about.
He doesn't normally actually. He's an idiot and knows nothing.
Yeah, he does. He asks some
He's
questions.
leading.
He's adding leading questions to
You're not a
spark.
host.
I basically am right now.
Not with a personal problem.
You know.
I can go in the other room.
No, you're not allowed to.
Oh,
No. Hmm?
if I get banned.
Hmm? I didn't banish you. You'll get in trouble. Hmm?
So how's your business?
Hmm?
Doing good.
Good. And we're just out of that storm as it's starting.
Does the pin come out again? Yeah, that pin. I hate.
It's
I love
better-
their glue. I hate their applicator.
It's better than what it used to be. So like, nothing else was. No, actually, the old applicator was better than this. It was. You didn't have as much control, but it literally was a little tube at the top.
I hate their applicator. I hate Tester's applicator. I'll be honest with you. Tommy have figured out the best way to do plastic glue for applicators with their glass bottle and a brush in it. That thing is the bomb.
Meeks is back. Meeks is back.
Meeks!
Welcome back.
So you're currently playing? Are you currently playing a D&D game?
No.
No.
Gavin, I have heard that about Army Painter. I have also heard that it is.
What about Army Painter?
Well, he says Army Painter is decent. You just have to shake it.
Yeah, I've heard that it can run a bit thin, and it's got to be well shook because of that. I haven't used really any Army Painter yet. It's never come up. I've used no. We've got a bunch of the Citadel, obviously, and we've got a bunch of Vallejo, and then Reaper has a set of paints, and one of them that pink I handed over to you. I forget what they call their brand of paints. Master Series.
In one spot, it's a good sign.
So what are your leading questions with D&D, sir?
Well, I'm just curious because I know we've been talking about me getting running some sort of RPG game for you guys, giving us the excuse to come out to your neck of the woods once some of this social distancing is over. We talked about it at the New Year's, the just after New Year's party, and I've been putting some stuff together. But again, it's also about finding people's tastes. I'm trying to find a group of people that are willing to play a game where they're not playing good guys, and it's hard.
The thing is, yeah, I mean, like when you play like evil campaigns, everyone tries to outdo themselves and be the most evil of evil, and they try and be comically evil sometimes. Where it's more like, how evil can I be? How can I kick the puppy or something?
How depraved can I be? And that's
Yeah.
the thing. And that's the thing with this evil campaign, because I don't want to call it an evil campaign. It's not that they're evil per se. They're from
Evil is best when it thinks it is right.
and that is what these guys are. They're a group, an organization that believes they are doing the right thing, but compared to what we would consider moral and good by today's standards, they are unconscionably evil. So
They messed up. Is what you're saying.
well, I mean, they
They're
kill
worshippers
kids.
of death
They're worshippers of death. I mean, they kill kids because they kill the weak ones.
It's not an evil party if a child's not dead.
Right, but it's the whole thing. They kill the weakest children so that the others might grow strong.
because that
Don't-
weak kid is probably going to die anyway.
So
So why waste the food
why waste the food? Weed out the weak, let the strong survive.
and then come back in 8 years and do it again?
Because they come in and they kill and they take.
So your evil people are just Spartans.
Yeah,
Very much.
very much. They are. They're Spartans in nature, and they don't breed.
But they can't.
Because when you're able to breed in an organization, and people, when you have like monarchies lead to weakness because people breed and then bloodlines become weak and people become sickly and inbred, and so to keep that from being, power should grow by people worthy of carrying it. So everybody is fixed. at some point.
Whatever happened to the simple quest of goblins stole our gold? Can you please go back and get it?
The problem is I've tried running those kind of games, and unfortunately,
You
NPCs
get murder
just-
hobos.
you get murder hobos. I mean,
Well,
if you play with the Greenholts, murder hoboing has been taken to such a level that it's just like,
Mark, Lori, if you guys end up watching this, we still love you.
But you are
Hot Interplay says, in my game, we took a break from our main characters to play some side ones, and in the 2-week span, I staged a political coup and overthrew the established government. Now the setting is a dictatorship.
there you go.
It's always great when you end up, take a break from one set of characters and, oh, look, now your main character has to take on your secondary character.
And the thing about D&D, I mean, I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons now for 42 years. It's a very specific date. It's 42 years. I've been playing for 42 years now. And the thing about that is that I spent the first 10 years of that running the good guys do good, bad guys do bad, and we must go save the town type adventuring.
But yeah, the thing is, it's a fantasy. It's, we live in a world where the good guys don't always win. Sometimes you want to play the game where, you know what, bad guys are punished and good does succeed.
And I agree. And you know what? There are some genres for that are really great. It's one of the reasons I love running superhero games.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I ran superheroes the longest time, and the good guys do win, and the bad guys get in trouble, and they run into a foul. And in at least one of my superhero campaigns, bad guys got shot all the time. Oh, look! He had a pogo! He came down with a sudden case of high-velocity lead poisoning.
32 times!
God damn it, Pogo.
I fired 64 warning shots, stopping to reload 18 times.
He fell on my knife 18 times.
No. Pogo was all about.
You killed him. I didn't kill him. I
Shot him. The
bullets
bullets
in the ball
gone.
killed him.
That's what it's from.
Collateral. Movie
Collateral.
called Collateral. Hey, just a quick question.
Oh,
now that you've started, I feel like a low magic. Okay, so let's see. Gavin says, "Ladies on the table is a new thing, but it's good." Hot Dinner Plate says, "I feel like low magic setting is best for a morally ambiguous campaign."
I agree with you there. I got a quick one I got to handle from Squig Boss. Quick question. Now that you started playing orcs, do you watch any YouTubers like 6 Plus Stevo, Dreadwa, or Plastic Crack? I'm going to tell you right now, it is watching them that got me onto the orc kick. I'm going to be honest with you. Specifically, 6 Plus Stevo. I love his content. I love Dreadwa, and I love Plastic Crack. But there's also a few other people that I'm actually really big fans of their work. I joined there's a Facebook community for the 40K orc. Pale Orc, I was just about to bring him up. He has such a great paint jobs and it's a great channel. There's another one. I mean, I got into the 40K orc Facebook community, and I realized that like 2/3 of the channels on there I'm already fans of. I don't watch television. I'm going to be honest with you. People, I don't watch TV, but I probably consume 4 to 6 hours of YouTube a day. When I'm at my desk, painting, building, prepping models to go in the 3D printer, anything, I watch channels. And I normally will watch the stuff for my subscriptions first, and then I go digging into people's archives. And I go digging based on what I'm currently working on.
Speaking of like stuff like that, I've been watching a lot of Voldemort stuff when I've been hopping.
Yeah, Voldemort, an ID.
That dude has a voice smooth as silk.
IDIC Beer Community has a channel called Voldemort. If you're not familiar with Voldemort, it is a lore-specific channel. Really great.
I
You
wanna
can watch
listen
his Rogel Dorn, his 3 Rogel Dorn videos.
Yeah.
You will play the Imperial Fist after.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I watch a lot of YouTube. I watch a lot of the orc community.
Dude has a voice touched by the gods.
Watch it. He makes Rogel Dorn. Before, like when I first got it, I thought Rogel Dorn was one of the least interesting.
Oh no.
Just watching that, you
No,
realize.
I can tell you who the least interesting. Just bringing that up, the least interesting Primarch of all the Primarchs.
Conrad Cruz.
Yeah. He's just, I don't know, there's just nothing interesting. I hate the Night Lords just for the whole concept. It just,
And the fact that he got his ass.
no, I don't think that him getting killed by a normal person is really that big a deal.
No. If you look,
The Night Lords.
no, it's
just
funny because that you hate Conrad Cruz. It's interesting because in Voldemort's thing about World of Thorn, he talked a little bit about Conrad Cruz because there were 4 important Primarchs in the making of the Imperium that the Emperor had. Horus was after the Emperor got into his library project. He had 4 Primarchs that were going to be the cornerstones of the Imperium. Horus would lead the Imperium. Sanguinius would be the spirit of the Imperium. Rogaldord would build the Imperium. And Conrad Cruz would enforce the Imperium's laws. He would be the justice. Now, the Lord did him shit in that case, but...
Yeah, but I'm just saying the Night Lords are just, I hate them. They're so boring. They're so comically bad, in my opinion. I don't like them at all. I don't like their lore at all. Blah.
The only reason I know anything about him is because of Warmundus. Warmund's from the naked custodian that likes to slide around.
Yeah.
Was talking about his top favorite. He was talking about his favorite Primarchs from worst to best. And he goes, number 20, Skip. I'm a huge Luton fan. If Voldemort had that quality of thumbnails and editing, he would be just as big.
Yeah.
Why him? Why not someone like Russ in regards to...
Because Russ was the Emperor's executioner.
Yeah, Russ isn't about law enforcement. Russ is about doing the deeds that need to be done, no matter the cost, no matter the
Because
opinion.
people don't realize what Conrad Cruz was before he found the Emperor. He was basically Batman. He landed on a prison planet filled with just horrible, despicable people, and Conrad Cruz brought law and order to it. Was it through fear and murder? Yes, but he brought law and order to that planet.
And that's the whole thing. All of the Primarchs had their place. They really did. They all had a place in
the grand scheme.
In the grand scheme of things. I always found.
Okay, then my question is, if that's the case, what the fuck was Morgars to fuck it all up?
To bring the Imperial truth.
Which
was the original Imperial truth. The problem was he perverted it to his religion type worship of the Emperor and the whole cult of the Empire. But he was supposed to bring the religious truth that mankind is a premier being and that we are to aspire to greater things. There are no gods. Do not worship gods. They are things of superstition.
Man is his own God.
Man is his own God. Yeah, I mean, he was supposed to be the bringer of the Imperial truth. He was supposed to be this spiritual leader.
To help people awaken the divine spirit within.
Right.
And then another thing for hot dinner play on why not have Russ be the enforcer. Russ, as the executioner, he is when you literally say you're going to unleash the hounds of hell. That's Russ.
That's what they did. There are 2 dead Primarchs, or at least 2 Primarchs that are unnamed.
That are
one was considered. They say one is lost, one was destroyed.
One was destroyed and one was lost.
Well,
and it is believed that Russ is responsible for both of them, though.
Because one was so unstable.
Well, I heard one was destroyed by Russ, but the other one was like lost in.
Because there's a scene in one of the books where they're looking at them, looking at those pillars.
Yep, and 2 of the pillars are removed.
And they talk about Layman and his ability, and it's not, they say it in such terms that it makes it clear that he's killed a couple of Primarchs. And at that point, who else has he killed? He hadn't killed anybody at that point. So if there's only 2 Primarchs he's killed a couple, and there's only 2 gone, that means there's 2 that are dead by his hand.
So the way that some people take the lost is that it became something happened and it just became so corrupted and whatnot that they didn't have a choice but to put it down because it was nothing even remotely human.
Yeah, I just viewed it as GW got lazy.
Yeah.
Well, we made 18 of them already. Just
No, but that was the whole thing. They created 20. You know why they created 20?
Originally,
And only named 18? Because 2 of them were supposed to be so you could create your own chapter for the good guys or the bad guys. You know, the good guys being chaos and the bad guys being... No, I'm just kidding. So you could create your own. But then because as time went on and everyone's like, well, what about the missing 2? What about the missing 2? What about the missing 2? They have to explain them in lore. No, they really don't. It's a game. And then Black Library became a thing. And Black Library is literally, in my opinion, the best and worst thing that ever happened to GW.
It is a giant thing of proper freaking ganda.
The problem is that it created a lot of great lore, but the problem is that then they had to explain everything. And sometimes for a game, there are things you do for a game system to work that you don't really want to explain an in-game an out-of-game reason for them. It's like, why do we have 2 unnamed chapters? So you can make your own chapters. Because if they didn't do that, that means you'd have to play one of the established chapters, and you couldn't paint your own figures and make them your own thing, because that wasn't the way it worked. The whole reason they did that was that you could make your own guys. The other thing to realize is that they originally didn't have 18 chapters. There's a picture from the 2nd edition box set where they show the chapters, and there's like 11.
They also
And
have
they're all
retconned the purpose of the
loyalists.
They've also retconned the whole reason behind the Primarchs a couple of times, because originally they were supposed to be his equivalent of the Thunder Warriors that he was going to put down as soon as he was finished with them.
So there's lots of back and forth, and that's the thing.
And I mean, the first time Russ was introduced, he was not called the Sun. He was not a Primarch. He was just
a captain. He was even a captain.
He was a general.
The first time they ever showed Russ was in the Rogue Trader book, and he was a captain of the Space Wolves. And they've got a close-up picture of his face. He's got all this,
yeah,
and it's an awful picture, but they call him Captain Layman Russ of the Space Wolves.
And then they changed it to, no, he's the Emperor's son, and he's a Primarch.
And
Originally they inferred that, yes, they're technically his sons because they're clones or pieces of him that he ingrained with very specific genes so that they would make fulfill very specific roles. Like Magnus was deliberately created with the intention of him sitting on the golden throne forever to power the astronaut.
But even that's a later retcon. I mean, there's so many.
They ended up retconning that.
There's so many retcons. I mean,
he created them all. Originally, somebody said is that he basically created them all to fulfill very specific roles. And Layman's job was to kill them when he no longer needed them.
Well, and the other thing is that there was also the idea that they didn't get their genetic boost or change because stuff he did, but they got it from the world they landed on, which is why Layman Russ has all those wolf-like tendencies, because he picked up the genetics of the wolves on that planet. And then there was another, they said, well, no, we actually put that genetics in him. It just so happened to land on a planet with all this wolf. Like,
they just when the chaos
Magnus' most tragic son. Yeah, let's talk about Magnus and how the Emperor effed him. Most tragic. I don't think
he is the most tragic. He tried to help.
He tried to help so much. He wanted to just
and
do
he screwed up. I'm not going to give you wrong. He screwed up.
No, he messed up bad.
But he was trying to help, and because what he did caused things. People got misconstrued, and he got screwed over by. By Horus, and then he got screwed by.
I think Horus is also one of the most tragic.
No, Horus isn't tragic.
No, because if you, he was the first found. He was with the Emperor the longest. He was the Emperor's favored son.
No, that's Sanguinius.
No, Horus was. That's why Horus was made War Master. Sanguinius was the most beloved by everyone else. Everyone loved Sanguinius. No one hated Sanguinius. But the Horus was the Emperor's favorite son. That's why he was War Master. That's why he was going to run stuff after. So you have Horus, favorite, and then he's named War Master. The Emperor leaves, and then all these people surround him. People who are his brothers and such, especially Logar, they start whispering in his ears. He falls, and he does some horrible stuff. I mean, he falls.
Fucking killed Sanguinius.
Yes, and then he goes. He was totally corrupted by chaos at that point. he fights his father, the man who he'd done so many great things with for hundreds of years, and then it's like he's getting ready, like he's getting ready to deliver the killing blow on his father because his father's holding back, and then he realizes that his father's holding back, and then everything he's done hits him because in the moment right before the Emperor kills Horus, Horus is no longer corrupted by chaos. He's pure. He goes back to his old self. That's why Horus has a tear. He cries as he's killed by the Emperor, and the Emperor, because like he literally during it he loses everything.
Because the Emperor didn't just kill him,
And Horus,
he blew up his soul, so he wouldn't be taken by chaos either. He
Horus-
literally obliterated him.
Horus in his final moments realized everything he had done.
But the problem is
that
that
doesn't make him tragic.
that doesn't make him tragic. Doesn't make him the most tragic.
It's a tragic
Oh,
story.
it is tragic.
It's the whole thing is absolutely
The
tragic.
problem, the difference is that he fell because of his own doubts. Magnus fell because of other people's actions
He had no
compounding by
choice.
him making two bad decisions.
Yeah, and he ended up. You make the Magnus a powerful psyker.
The most tragic son.
Don't warn him about the dangers, and then ban him from using his abilities. This is a true statement. He was never. There was never. He was just given the "don't do that. That's bad."
Like I
Why?
said, he made two bad decisions.
That's like, okay, you're a parent. You tell your kid, don't touch the stove. It's hot. And the kid goes, oh, I touched stove.
Okay, but that's different. Don't touch the stove. It's hot.
Don't send a psychic blast at me when I'm trying to make a human webway so we don't have to use the
But he
warp.
But
didn't
they
tell-
didn't know
That he didn't tell
because he
them.
never told them that.
That was
He
the
just
problem.
Because it
don't-
was a secret project.
Yeah, don't fuck with the warp. And that's it.
And what did Magnus do? Fuck with the warp to send a message.
Because he was trying to beat Horus back.
And that's the whole thing.
He found out Horus was the traitor and was trying to get there before him so that he could warn his father that this traitor that they have been looking for was none other than Horus himself. And he ends up getting basically tricked into breaking into the palace, unleashes a bunch of stuff, and never is given a chance to explain himself or even go, Horus is coming to kill you. He's the traitor. It was, oh, look, you're a traitor. Kill him now. Ah!
Yeah, because that message invited chaos in the world. He almost let the chaos invade Terra.
No, and it's understandable. I understand why people were mad at him, but nobody asked why, because everybody was already on edge. He was literally
trying
to do the right thing.
And
he
they
made
just
him.
automatically
And
assume
it's 40K. You can do the right thing and still be.
Oh yeah, look at the
no
cow.
good deed goes unpunished.
Yeah, I mean that's the beauty of it. I mean, but that's why Magnus is the most tragic.
I mean, he was seriously trying to help his father. He was trying to
Can you
get
tell that she
through.
wants to play Thousand Suns?
Okay. Here's
No,
another thing.
I honestly think
Okay.
Magnus
If Magnus did nothing wrong,
I never said that.
why is he still killing Imperium?
No.
Because he doesn't own his soul anymore.
Yeah, when he fell,
He had no.
he was done.
Okay, so Magnus ended up in a situation where he had one of two choices: die or protect his people. He chose to protect his people
And he made a deal with Zinch.
and Zinch took his soul. Of all of the Primarchs,
So not only did he do something wrong, he's stupid too.
Yes,
he believed that they were coming to kill him.
a large number of the Primarchs are actually incredibly naive.
People don't realize Primarchs, they're supposed to be superhuman. They're the best at all of us.
But
They're us
don't-
times 1,000.
But
They're
they don't
still
have.
us in a sense.
They're like children. They really are. All of them were very much like kids. They adapted very quickly to the worlds that they were in because they didn't know any better. That's why they were able to take on the aspects of the worlds that they were found on as easily as they did.
Never mind the warp that they were thrown through to get there. Probably had something to do with it as well.
Yeah, probably fucking crippled their asses.
Well, that's
that
what they
regard.
say how Sweet Magnus got his red skin and then his one eye. And
Well, he got his one
And
eye.
apparently Magnus is the tallest Primarch. Or
Yes. I did find that out recently. I thought he was one of the scrawniest, but he is one of the tallest.
Yeah, but you know what? He's the only one who has a epic
just made
scale
my-
figure.
Hot Dinner Plate says he just made my wife gap.
Oh well, he just made my wife gap. She plays Falcon.
And then Heinrich's going, this is so funny. Yes, we know. Crotchety ass old robot playing man, get off your lawn. We got it.
Get off my lawn.
Excuse me.
No. Heinrich's Necrons are right. You eat gods. You don't make deals with them.
But actually the whole thing with his eye was that before the Emperor found him and he was told this is a bad thing, and he didn't realize that demons were the supposed great spirits on Prospero because they're all a bunch of frickin' psychers. He made a deal with the most powerful one, not realizing it was Zinch himself, and sold his eye in exchange for power and knowledge. Had no idea. And instead of Daddy going, hey, you know those spirits that you're like talking to? Yeah, they're a bunch of demons. You should probably stop. He just went, sorcery is bad and bullshit.
No, he did it, but he did it twice. The Council of Nicaea or whatever in the game, or in the war. Because he did the first one like, hey, don't deal with warp stuff. Yeah. And then he did it until they had a second council. Don't deal with warp stuff.
Well, here's the thing. It's on Prospero. They didn't realize that what they were doing was warp. They thought they were dealing with spirits and magic.
And that's why wizards suck.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's why you have to have room priests, because they only deal with nature spirits.
Oh, fuck you, bitch.
Please, Mr. Bird, make my bullets fly.
And Odin goes, all right then.
Meanwhile, the guy in the factory dealing with gunpowder, the bird gets all the goddamn credit.
Although that's the hilarious thing. Those animal spirits are probably just minor demons as well.
Yes, make your bullets go fast. Do you want to go faster too? He's 6 extra toes.
Look, it's a polydactyl wolf. I get nachos.
That's why they cider paws. I don't know why our wolves grow extra paws. We cut them off and give them metal.
Now they're Russian.
Well, yeah, the Russ.
I thought they were Vikings.
They're everything.
It's the
They're drunk.
between suppressing one's abilities and mentoring one's abilities. This is right. Hot Dare Blade has another thing. The Emperor was a psyker himself. Had he bothered to, I don't know, spend time with his super psyker powered son?
He was too busy trying to
I'm sorry. If I don't spend time with my lab rats, okay?
I mean,
have you seen those that thing where people are like they show Horus like yelling at the Emperor like it's like why would you do this to father? And Horus goes, why the hell is my lab rat talking to me?
He did create them as an experiment.
I still love the fact that when you realize that the lab that he used to create them is in Mount Everest, and in text-to-speech, Kitten starts screaming about how, he starts yelling about his mom and how his mom was a tube in Mount Everest, and her name is Mom Everest, and Magnus has to make him shut up. Because please forget this ever happened. Thank you.
Text-to-speech is some of the best stuff out there.
I would like to point out for those who have not seen text-to-speech, it is actually how I got my first taste of the lore and then got kind of curious because I went, all right, how much of this is bullshit?
That is literally text-to-speech is how I introduced her to 40K to begin with. So her first introduction was that, and she's like, what the hell is this?
What the hell is this and what the hell is wrong with you?
How can we get it in liquid form and stick it in my veins?
And then he dragged me over to our local games workshop, and I'm bored as he's ignoring my ass while talking with everybody, and I'm like feeling lost as all hell, and I'm just kind of walking around looking at all the pretty figures. And then I'm looking at some more pretty figures. And then I look at some more pretty figures. Oh, there were a couple ones that I said, ooh, I want this. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, we present to you a Kender.
Watery Kender comes through, leaves.
She is the key master. Do not mess with her.
Yeah.
Anyway, so walking through, looking at all this stuff, he's ignoring me. And I'm like, what should I was like, well, he said that if I see one that kind of sparks my fancy, I should say something. And I found like 5 things that kind of sparked my fancy. Thousand Suns was amongst them.
We all make mistakes.
Shut up,
She's still gonna play Thousand Suns.
cow player.
I haven't played Tau in over a few years, but Tau are good.
They're the greater good.
They are.
Yeah. We can have
Everyone is equal in the Tau. Some are just more equal than others.
yeah.
No, and everyone's equal. Tau are just first among equals.
No, I thought that was the first.
Well, like you said, some are more equal than others. The Ethereals are the most equal.
And then you technically have the Firecast, which have killed off all their Ethereals. And you have a Tau commander using a demon weapon that is expending his life every time he. That's what Farsight has. That weapon he has is the demon sword.
Oh no, Farsight.
Farsight.
Sorry.
He every time he kills somebody, that blade absorbs the amount of life they would have normally left or lived, and it's passed on to Farsight. Farsight is very old for Tau. They haven't even realized that. He doesn't even realize that yet. Because Tau on average, they say only live to be about 40 human. But the thing is, we don't know if that actually is true or not. Or if they're just the Ethereals are killing off the Tau.
Well, anyway, so as I'm walking around looking at all this stuff, I see these Daughters of Cain, and I'm thinking those are kind of cool, but. And then I see the Stormcast, and I'm going, those guys are really cool. And then I see Lady Olinder, and I fall in love. But I don't want to start with her, but what do I do? And that's kind of interesting, but that's really expensive. And so I get talked into by the manager and a couple of others who apparently, from suggestion from this guy here, went, why don't you get this box set? It's called Stormstrike. You get a little bit of each.
Yes, sweetie.
Can I have orange?
You know, you could have just thrown something at me and told me to shut the fuck up.
Orange.
What kind of orange? We got a couple different types. I've got
Tabby orange.
Orange.
Perfect.
here's some
I never what you needed.
here's some other orange.
I got what you need.
So wait, going back to Primarchs, and what do you think is the Primarch that has had the most disservice done to them lore-wise? Like you personally think this Primarch could be so much more interesting, or they could give, or they don't give them up. They don't. That Primarch has not had their time in the spotlight.
That's a bit hard for me because I'm only fairly familiar with a handful of them.
And we're only into the first book because we're doing a listen through on the entirety
of the horse.
of the Horus Heresy. We just started.
Yeah, all 28 books.
The Horus Heresy, it ain't 28 books.
Well, we have the first 28 books in our format.
I
know.
28 books, I don't think is even halfway.
No, it is half.
Well,
Because the Solar War is
they
at
just
least
started.
12 books.
Warmut! Hello!
Hey, Mini Warmut.
So to the ones that I know, I'm fairly familiar with Dorn, and there's just something very awesome about him. I mean, having not read any of his books, just knowing the little bit I know about him,
Please, you have got to watch Golden Mist video.
he is so interesting. Like, it blew my mind when I realized he was a masochist. And I mean, I was like, well, that explains the.
He becomes a masochist after the Horus Heresy.
Yeah, but I mean, when you look at, I mean, of the,
I would almost say, based on the ones that I know, I almost feel bad for Perturabo. That man was perpetually angry and just shat upon by everyone. It's like nobody even wanted to give him the time of day or a chance.
Perturabo, his personality wasn't the greatest either.
No, and that's why it's like.
It's a little bit. It's like.
Well,
I'm angry all the time because no one wants to hang out with me. But nobody wants to hang out with nobody wants to hang out with you because you're angry all the time. So
yeah,
it's a cycle.
well, there was that was actually something, and based on a lot of my knowledge that I have, what book are you all on? I'm on Legion.
we're literally on the first book.
Yeah, we're still. We listened to that.
We're doing audio and we listen. We're just in the first book.
I stopped. I've read Legion. I stopped after I got to the point of
He says no spoilers.
I'm saying the book. It was the one where it's the assault. It's the assault. It's where like the world leaders are assaulting a ship, but there's loyalist world leaders. It's probably Oh, Battle for the Abyss or whatever.
Oh,
But actually, I just finished books. The book I would recommend is
I am also slowly still working through the Kindness King.
Katie and Honor. I just finished Katie and Honor and Katie It Stands. Or Katie It Stands first and then Katie and Honor. Those are two really good ones. Because it's interesting. That you deal with people, you deal with a heretical insurrection of heretics that still worship the emperor.
Interesting.
we're listening to the Horse Heresy books. We just started the first book in audio format. We just haven't gotten back to we haven't got back to it. We started and haven't gotten back to it. And it's not that they're not good books, they're great books. Unfortunately,
They're very British, so there are any British listeners here, I apologize. I actually prefer books written by British authors because there's just something about them to be very to the point, but they're kind of dry. And then sometimes they get wordy. Really, really wordy.
Cabal. And it's unfortunate because that's an Alpha Legion book too, and that gets really wordy because you deal with a lot of.
and the biggest problem is that when I'm trying to focus, I have a hard time listening to something when I'm trying to focus on doing something. So
Yeah.
our idea to listen to them while we're painting did not work at all.
That's what's happening to me. I'm reading the Severa Rain book right now, Honor Bound. That's about the female commissar.
Yeah.
I'm like 2 hours in, and it's like, it's weird because it starts off in the middle of a battle, which, okay, that's cool. But there's no, I'm trying to learn who everyone is, but it's like, you don't, because it's already them talking to you like, oh, Captain blah, 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 you need to do this. Or Whisk.
Like you should
I didn't realize
already-
who Whisk was until an hour and a half in, and Whisk is like apparently a captain.
I think that's her dude.
I don't know, maybe, but it's like,
The name sounds familiar because I know that there's a captain that serves under her, and it's pointed out that if the two of them are not wearing their gloves, they both have a wedding band on their left hands.
yeah, they talk about in some of the lore.
But yeah, it's interesting.
Which would make fighting with your wife very difficult.
Yeah, because she can pull a ring on you.
No, she'll put a bullet in you.
And see, that's the biggest thing.
But
Again,
going back to the whole thing about the Primarchs, a good knowledge of my Primarch knowledge, just of them as they are, actually came from one of the Texas Speech Voxcast with one of that whole top 20 Primarchs, where he kind of touches on each one of them briefly, what their personalities were like and whatnot, both loyalist and not. And he points out Perturabo, and he's just like, he's a good night, Meeks.
hi, mates.
Yeah, oh my gosh, dude, go to sleep. He mentions that Perturabo is basically the universe's toilet. Everybody shits on him and treats him like he's garbage, which begs the quandary: is he treated like that because he is, or is he like that because he is garbage? Or does he act like he's garbage because he's treated like garbage?
Well, apparently when he was on his planet of Elysium or whatever, where he became the tyrant of Elysium or whatever, he wasn't the greatest person to begin with.
Yeah, so he's got some serious anger issues, which you would think that the Emperor of Mankind and all of his, great wisdom and abilities would have been able to help this boy out. But no. He just kind of goes, yes, you're my son. Now get the fuck away from me.
Honestly,
I think. Go ahead, Biggie.
Honestly, I think the one Primarch that hasn't had their time in the sun that I think deserves it is one of the ones that's actually what I think, personally, one of the least developed. Jagatai Khan.
For me, it was either Jagatai Khan or Corvus Corax.
Corvax has actually been a lot of stuff.
He's
on
got
Corvax.
his own books. And
He's
stuff
got his
like
own
that.
books.
Oh yeah, the
Jagatai does
Primarch books.
Yeah,
I'm still
Jagatai-
waiting for the Dorn one to come out.
Yeah, Jagatai doesn't actually.
This is
have
all
one.
for you. There's 2 captain shoulder pads, some hammers and fists, and some shields. And all
My knowledge of Jagatai Khan is very, very limited.
He's going to be cleaned up some. So.
I mean, it's exceptionally limited. From what I know about him, it is.
Well, they say even in the war, he was very estranged from his brother.
That's the whole thing, and that's what I mean. There isn't that much about Jagatai Khan.
Like I
What's
said-
known about him? He likes to go fast.
Yeah, basically.
during the Siege of Terra.
He was standing on top of a tank that was going 200 miles an hour while doing laps around the palace while he was screaming out a war cry, boosting morale for anyone who could hear him. Yes, I'm aware of what he was doing.
One of them gets to this year.
Go ahead.
It's fun.
I mean, I'm not very familiar from
like a shoulder shield or two.
from what I am also aware of is apparently that's just something that the White Stars are. Is they're strange as a whole from the rest of the Imperium. They'll show up and help, no problem. But for the most part, they keep pretty much to themselves.
But that's the whole thing. I mean, you look at everyone else. I mean,
We know a crap ton about the wolves, and
we know a lot about the wolves. The wolves should probably have the most written about them,
because
other than maybe the Blood Angels
Ultramarines.
and the Ultramarines. I mean, you look at the big four. Honestly, you look at the big four: the Ultramarines, the Blood Angels, the Dark Angels, and the Space Wolves. They're the big. When
Dark Angels.
I talk about the big four, they are the big four
Black
because
Templars probably come in fifth.
yeah, which is really funny because they're not even a founding chapter. They're
They're the most. They're interesting. They have such a different design and mentality.
right.
apparently there is in some of the stuff. It's inferred when Dorn was talking with their chapter master, is that they are not his sons.
Yeah,
They are not actually his chief sons.
there's an inferent.
He makes a comment about to their chapter master, who's apparently getting in his face, and apparently when Dorn loses his temper, it's a terrifying thing.
And,
He's a very slow to anger.
and this was during the siege on the against the Iron Warriors. That when they had that plan.
Oh, the Battle of the Cage.
Yeah,
And then apparently this dude did something,
Sigmund.
yeah, and managed to piss Dorn off. And he goes, "Just remember, you're not one of my sons."
and it's a very specific line in there, and a lot of people take it to mean that the Templars are not actually an offshoot of the Fists,
They
but
think they might
maybe
be
the
friends.
remnants of the 2nd or the 11th Legion. But again, lore is lore is lore is lore. And it
Well, considering
changes weekly.
they've even stated that regard all books as propaganda.
Every book.
Go into that fact then. If the Black Templars are not part of Dorn lineage,
Which is why they behave the way they do, because they behave so
differently than the rest of them.
well, they're on a constant panic. Because what happened is
They've got something over 3,000 members.
no, they're talking about this being 6. Because
Yeah.
technically
Yeah.
each crusade is its own force, and they don't.
Yeah, and
Some
they
crusades
don't.
are like 100, some are a couple over one.
Yeah,
but
and
no.
they don't report their numbers.
What happened is during the final hours of the Siege of Terra in Horus Heresy, when they teleport to Horus's battle barge and all that,
Mhm.
Sigmund is left behind by Dorn. Dorn says, "You have to stay back and hold the fort or whatever."
Yeah.
Which Sigmund, he's a Black Templar in that mentality too. He was supposed to be leading charges and all that. He left behind, and then the Emperor dies and all that. The reason why they're a crusading force and all that is because they're pissed they weren't there.
Now that's an interesting point. The Black Templars were there during the Siege of Terra, but
Well, they were Imperial fists at that time.
oh,
So what happened is
Well,
if
there's
you
also
read
rumored that there are parts of the wolves
Huh?
that are the remnants of horses.
no, not the wolves.
Oh no,
The Blood Ravens.
there's also the fact that Blood Ravens are
To the-
probably
where
are part of Thousand Sons.
yeah,
Because they're known to have a shit ton of Psychers. No, how the second founding chapters came around after the Horus Heresy
was
is
because Gulliman
They
was
would-
like, "We need to do this to prevent this shit from happening."
yeah,
again."
basically during the Horus Heresy, a captain was basically what a chapter master is now, with more or less. So what they did is Sigmund was the first captain of the Imperial Fist. His personal heraldry was the Black Templar territory. And when Sigmund, yes. So when he broke away, he became. They formed the Black Templars, and that's how with the Blood Angels. There's a short story about the Flesh Terrors going to their new home world and like that. The reason why they're called the Flesh Terrors is because their captain, his nickname was the Flesh Terror, or the Terror of Flesh.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I'm learning more and more about them. I mean, I'm like thrilled to death that I can name all 18 of them now.
Which is funny because she's trying to figure out where to start.
Layman and Dorn.
Honestly,
No, just lore in general, the world.
Oh Jesus. Yeah. That's
okay.
hard.
The lore, easiest way.
I showed her Warhammer lore in under a minute.
Okay.
Honestly, the
Text
easiest
speech.
way. Yeah, I was gonna say, watch text to speech.
Text to speech is not.
No,
It is.
It is actually very. They present it in a satirical way, but it is actually it's a wonderful stepping stone.
All the history you can take, but anything that actually happens in text speech is.
Oh no, but that's the whole
No,
point.
that's not what I'm
That's
talking about.
the whole point. Well, everything they talk about, stuff that happened, they present in a comical way, and it also represents all of the retcons they've had to do over the years.
I mean, there's
And
literally at one point.
All I need is a Cliff Notes version.
it's hilarious, and it's
Which
funny.
is that you should seriously, and then if anything, strikes your fancy, you go, oh, and you can go look it up. It's basically what I did.
I'm gonna tell you right now. You know how I got into 40K? I tell this to everybody every time we talk about this. I got into 40K based on a single piece of lore. I was playing Warhammer Fantasy. I played High Elves and was starting to branch into a new unit that they had for Warhammer that were these Viking Raider type mercenaries. And I love these figures. I'm like, these are cool. And I bought a box, and they came in a plastic box. I had this box of 30 Viking Raiders. I forget what they were called. I think they're now referred to as the Kislev, which were these Nordic Viking Raider type characters. Right. Well, here's the thing. So I was building these. I bought these figures, and I was looking at them. I hadn't built them and painted them yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I went back to get some materials, get some paints and stuff. When I went back to the store, and Fritz, the guy who owned the store, was like, he goes, "Hey, you gotta check this out. This just came in," and he brought me right over the Warhammer section, and he handed me this book. He's like, "Dude, it's Vikings in space." I'm like, all right, hang on. And I flipped open the book, and this was the very first edition, the very first printing of the Space Force Codex. And I sat there reading it, and this is the first codex they had ever created. So everything was new. I mean, the game was pretty new at this point. And I started flipping this book, and they just explained this whole idea that they're Vikings in a lot of ways, but they're also these super ultra loyal, and they have all this stuff. And I'm like, all right, boom. Done. And I literally right then and there, I picked up that book. I picked up a box of 30 Marines. I picked up a box of Imperial Guard, and I picked up the starter box. And I walked out. I bought them and walked out of the store with them.
And then proceeded to eat ramen and hot dogs for the rest of the week.
Yeah, because I spent all my grocery money to get that stuff. Literally, because I was working as a security guard at that point. And I'm like, all right, fine. I blew all my money and bought it. I'm just like, screw this. I just blew 2/3 of my paycheck on this, but I don't care.
That's a little bit.
That's okay. That's good. So and that was the whole thing. So understanding all the lore.
Oh my God.
No, it's not going to happen. Because literally, honestly, my honest opinion about the game is there is so much lore. If you just focus on the lore, you're going to be overwhelmed and never be able to pick anything you like. Because there's so many freaking things that go on in this game. Because it's meant to appeal to everyone.
A little bit of everything for everybody.
Like when I was introducing it to the Kender, the idea of these crusading monastic knights was kind of okay, but the fact that in their original incarnation they weren't knight-like, they were more shamanic-like. So she kind of liked the idea of the Dark Angels. And then they talked about the Sisters of Battle, the nuns with guns. And she was like, all right, when they come out, I want to get those. And so she was just saying that's because of the way they looked.
Mhm.
Like, you look at the Carradon Overlords, and you're just like, these are awesome, you know? And that's the thing. I honestly truly believe in anything. For Warhammer specifically, either fantasy or 40K, the lore comes, but there's so much of it. You could fill that entire shelf. And I'm not joking.
Still.
You could fill that entire shelf with just the novels on that they've created at Black Library. You could fill that shelf and you wouldn't even get them all on. It's ridiculous the amount of stuff they've created.
Hot Plate says, love my sisters. Great conversation, by the way.
Thank you. So it comes down to either one of two things. Is there something you really love, or is there some appearance that you like? And like when I said, just take a look at these guys, because I know you, so I know you have a steampunk thing. So it's like, take a look at the Carradon Overlord. It's like, oh my God, they're great, you know?
Gimme.
Yeah. So I mean, you had the exact same reaction to them the first time I ever saw them, because they're brand new to me. I only started playing a year ago. I walked in, I was looking at 40K, so I'm like, oh, Age of Sigmar.
What the hell is that?
Huh. Sigmar was the guy, he was hang on, what is this? And he explained Age of Sigmar, and I walk over and I saw the Carradon box. I'm like, oh, I must have this. Because they're so awesome. And they really are. And then and I looked at the other factions, and it was funny because they brought out other factions since then that have made me look back at what I want to get. I mean, I already know my next fantasy faction I want to get. I love the Carradon Overlords. One of the factions I always wanted to get into back in the day, I didn't get into, and they just re-released them all in new sculpts and new molds, and I love them.
About
The ogres. They're
Okay.
basically they're an all ogre army. So they're all these gigantic guys, and food is like currency for them.
So
One of their terrain pieces is a giant cooking pot that they can throw hobgoblins in. I kill a hobgoblin, but now the big guys can eat so they can heal up and go back into battle.
nice.
It's a hilarious piece of terrain. I'm gonna play ogres. It's my next guy.
Rumor mill is they're the vampires, not the ghoul ones, like actual vampires. That's the rumor mill for Age.
Yeah.
And if it's vampires and they do them right, not like how they did these Lumineth elves, I will so play those.
You know,
You leave the Lumineth elves alone. They look like high elves that had sex with bulls.
all right, Sheldon.
Okay, no, they're awesome. I like Lumineth elves. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I saw the Carradon Overlord, and I just went nuts with them. She doesn't point out, yeah, she looked at these guys and looked at those guys, looked at these, and they were great. And then we brought her back in after she had painted some AOS, and I had her talking to one of my friends at the store.
Okay, yep. I get to tell this story.
Whatever.
I know which one you're telling.
All right.
So they're talking, and I'm looking around, and I hear someone go, BDSM elves. Ding, ding, ding. What was that? Oh, they're called the Drukari. These guys, right? Yeah, they're basically BDSM elves. Sold! Knew nothing else about them. Bottom right then and there.
But that's exactly. I mean, we gotta get started box right then and there, because sometimes a faction speaks to you.
And I found out since then that they're not just BDSM elves. They're crack snorting, alcoholic, Everclear chugging, drug taking, kidnapping, rapey BDSM elves. Right. And then I found out about the
So they're a little different, yeah.
and then I found out about the Yanari, and I've been down since.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I love the wolves just because I love their look, I love their lore. I love their robin's egg blue armor. I don't care what other people say. Oh, I don't like it. It's too bright. It looks too silly. No, it looks great. It looks like mountains. It's mountain blue, fresh sky blue armor. I love it.
And the thing is, you don't have to paint the blue.
Well, you don't have to, but I do because I like their blue. I really.
Established that my husband was weird.
Oh my gosh, we have a Zane.
Zane, where have you been, my love?
Two of his accounts can't chat here. Commodore must have really banned the crap out of him.
Damn! Apparently, really did ban him. Aloha. We got you, lemons. Plague child is sick with the plague. With the sounds you were making.
Coming in there, dude.
Did you already ban his ass?
Knock him in. Maybe I should. That's fine.
All right. Anyhow,
Apparently
so
you can only be banned so many times.
Really?
I don't know. He says two of his accounts can't come in.
so it's one gift for
Being Inquisitor's aim.
There are consequences for your actions.
Zen and only Zen. You may have a fucking cookie.
But and that's the thing. It's one of those. If you want to get into 40K, I would say knowing the lore is not the first thing you should do. I would honestly think you should
Just look for the pretty.
just look at the pretties
Look
and
at something
see
that
you like.
strikes your fancy.
Yeah, and that's why I love the idea. I was like, no, don't look at the website. I got you to look at the website because we were remote. But I'm like, right, you come with me. Let's go to the store and just go look at the wall because they've got a little bit of every army on the wall, and they'll have something there. They have a lot of unnamed characters, and they have all the books. You can pick up and look at the covers of the books and go, who are these guys?
And then I saw my Magnus.
Yeah, and she saw Magnus, and she saw the Thousand Sons, and she's like, Egyptian sorcerer Marines. I'm in. I love the blending you got of this thing. You guys need to. This was we just painted this today, guys. Look at this. This is beautiful blending work. Really thin. That is just beautiful work on the head.
Did you just roll your eyes at me, Tommy?
No, I didn't.
That is just really beautifully done.
I'm pretty sure you just did.
Do I know what I'm doing?
Yeah,
Yes, it works.
I know exactly what you mean. Because I'm kind of doing it right now. Of course, this is what I want to do anyway.
Wait.
You have to end this first.
Now remember, those pieces don't go on the plastic though.
Yeah, I got this.
Who are you texting so intensely?
Oh no, I'm going on and chatting.
The only thing I can think of is that maybe. Yeah, that's the only thing.
I wouldn't know even how to. I mean, I think
I'll take a. I'm a super admin on their thing. I'll take a look
you might
at it.
have to take a look at it to see what's.
Yeah, I'll
That's
take a look.
The only thing, like I said, I can think of is I think he might have, because of how many times he's gotten a timeout, the system may have went, oh, well, this person is a problem. We can no longer have it.
I'll take a look at it when we're done with the live stream. I'll take a look. Say, because we love you.
Like, all the girls in the room are going, nope.
Debatable.
I said the girls. Wait, if you're chiming in as that
There's
statement,
only two.
No, debatable.
I said
You're not in the room.
All right.
I'm now in the room.
You're not in the right frame of mind. You're sick out of your head. You
Yeah,
can't think straight.
seriously, you look like death.
Yeah, dude, go lay down.
No, I love you, sweetie. You're just really, really pale.
But I mean, that was the thing. I knew nothing in the lore. I read that little bit and was like, wow, these wolves are awesome. They're super loyal and they raid bad guys and they take trophies and they're all about being the best heroes they can because they want to be able to tell stories and they want those stories to live on even after they die in glorious combat for the Emperor. And they're just, it's just crazy cool. Yeah, and then like you look at some of some of the other Marines. Some of the Marines are actually really great. It's why I'm actually now I'm building my own chapter of Marines. I'm building my own successor chapter, and I'm building them in such a way. them in such a way that I can play them in whatever chapter I fancy at the moment. Because they're going to have their own color scheme and their own symbolry and all that. So
These guys may have the Fist logo, but that doesn't necessarily mean, oh, I really like how the Blood Angels do this stuff. Oh, these are guys that are the 8th company. That was actually one of my things I wanted to do when I first made some Marines. I wanted to be able, because like when you really think about it, a lot of the books, different books, can do things what each company should be. Like I thought, like the Dark Angel book. If you want to do like a first company, the Terminator stuff, do Dark Angels. I mean, you got to do some conversions so you don't use Dark Angel stuff like for their rules. Or if you're doing like the 8th company, which is like the Assault company in the standard. That's Blood Angels right there.
Yeah. See, I'm gonna do because I want to do a whole crap load of Marines. I want to do a bunch of tacticals and Primaris. Actually, it's one of the reasons why I want to get my hands on another copy of the Dark Imperium box.
You were talking about that last week.
Yeah, I want to get. I actually want to get another copy of the Dark Imperium box because I can take all that Nurgly goodness, the lovely Nurgly goodness, and put it in with my
Your love of Nurgle has invited him into our home one too many times.
He gets to go with my rest of my 4,000 points plus of Death Guard that I put together in a year.
Trying to get to 5,000 points with
10.
him? Oh, 10. Okay.
My goal is 10.
10,000 points. I have a problem.
Well, it could be worse.
You go get 10,000 points. Shh, I could have put Plague Child through college.
Worth it.
Is anybody else hot in here?
It is
A little warm.
I'm hot no matter where I go.
Okay, I was just making sure that it
Okay,
wasn't
somebody
me.
is high off the rest of
No, I just needed to know it wasn't because the alcohol's kicking in and
No,
my
it's
kids are starting to attack me.
4 of us in a single room. And we've been in here a while, and it's warm in here, and there's a candle burning in the middle of the room, and there's not a lot of airflow. And
You have a ritual?
Yes.
yes,
Here, so I can
Keep
start
it's
it-
the
with
melting of the plastic.
keeping of the Nurgle away.
But I mean, I want to be able to do it because I want to do a bunch of tactical Marine. I want to get that box because I want to put all that stuff in my Nurgle army, and then I'm going to take those Marines. I'm going to use them to build the basis of the Primaris portion of my custom army. But the problem is I have to cut off all the male heads
Oh, that's right. We're doing that.
because they're all going to be girls.
All right then.
They're going to be girl Marines. I'm just saying, there's going to be girl Marines.
Louise and Power.
That's what I'm saying. And I don't want them to be nuns with guns. Because I want to build that army separately as well. Because I have a problem.
I have an addiction.
I have a problem.
The first step to recovery is admitting you have a problem.
In his case,
Well, and here's the
this
thing.
isn't admitting it, he's glorifying it.
Well, and that's the whole thing. I mean, because there are some armies you can do this with and you can get away with it. The game is called Warhammer 40,000. So why can't you have 40,000 points in an army? Just saying. My wife looks at me like, the hell is wrong with you?
Zane, 4,000 points, pitiful. I have 10,000 Grey Knights to slay your heretics. Lapse in 6 Terminators and a Dreadnought.
It sounds
I
about right.
can't look at the thing anymore, the chat anymore because my phone died. Shut up.
All right. Well, we are coming up on the near 3-hour mark. So,
Holy shit, really?
Wow.
yep. So we are once again going to give a shout out to our Patreon members. So I know he's in there, so you better be ready to say it.
Come on,
So we're
baby.
going to first
Say
talk
it,
about
say it.
we're going to first talk about our tier 1, our Battle Brother members of our Patreon, which is Inquisitor Zane and Mini War Mutt. We have our 2
Second level.
our second levels, which are our battle leader level members, which are Joe Bookish and Heinrich Baffa.
And then we have our level 3.
Our warlord level Patreon members, which include my brother, the lovely master modeler, Alex Drake. We have James Meeks, the ultimate Smash Captain. And we have coming in from high orbit, aboard the Phalanx, our one, our only, the Commodore. It came out about normal.
That would be the alcohol.
So, you should change your Patreon name weekly. You're always going to be Inquisitor Zane. I don't care what account you're sending it in. You're still Inquisitor Zane. Inky Zane.
The Inquisitor that will be sent aboard the ship that, in the comic, that had a mental breakdown.
We're just going to rename him Toaster Boy.
That's what's going to get called in the comic by the Atmac. Which will might need to figure out those guys eventually.
So, and again, we all have Instagrams, as in the Nightly Gamer, J Drake Photo, Lady Dragon 28, and I am Gamecraft Dragon. We have merch. We have the Plague Child, who also has Instagram, who's supposed to be asleep, even though they're in chat now.
I can't stand up. Oh, at least lay down.
Happy Mother's Day. This came out of me. Put it back. Put it back. Get a plunger.
That did not come out. The one that came out of me is in another state.
Halfway.
No, across the country. In California, dude.
Yeah, halfway. That's in the middle.
Yeah, we're in the middle.
Semantics.
Actually,
It's across the country. You know, look here, you.
I drove.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to him. Look here, you. Do not rile. I'm going to have you riling.
Riley?
No riling.
Wow.
Not for the riling.
That's Zane's job.
Exactly. You're supposed to be the hand.
Well, it's Saturday. It's Saturday. I don't on Saturday.
It's his day off.
So
I think Saturday they let Zane dig his own grave.
no, I just
So
bribed him.
it's been a good talk, though. I mean, I love that, there's a lot of
We
thoughts.
actually had a very intelligent conversation for once
Yeah.
while we were all drinking.
Well, we started off pretty retarded.
Well, no. Hating on that movie is retarded. That movie is awesome. And I
have poor taste.
I will stand on that.
I've never met a person more glorified and happy in being horribly wrong.
Really?
You know,
Have you looked in the mirror lately?
It's like someone just it's like, hey, you're stepping in dog shit. I know I am. Mad dog shit.
I actually know somebody who has more question-based. This person shall remain nameless at this time, but they thought that god-awful movie, The Last Airbender, was a good and entertaining film.
Oh.
And they just outed themselves.
No.
I never said it was a good movie.
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't. I said there are parts of it that I liked when I first watched it. I watched
Which is why we own it.
You know what parts I like about it? The end credits. The only likable part of that
The
movie.
only part I like is when I chucked it out the fucking window.
Oh, that's what I said.
That's when it's interesting. Let that sucker fly.
Hey, look, that's more air power than Ang uses in the entire movie.
Oh, wow, that sounds like what tragically happened to Happy Feet in my household.
Hey, Happy Feet was great.
Happy Feet. Do you have any idea how many times I watched that goddamn movie?
I don't want to hear it. I had to watch Aladdin every day for 2 months.
Ooh.
What?
Hot dinner plate. Here's a hot take for y'all. Speed Racer live action is amazing.
I remember that god-awful film.
It looks good. Everything else is horrible in that movie. The Wachowski siblings should be brought up on fucking war crimes.
No.
I'm sorry. No.
The war crimes came from them trying to do Jupiter Ascending.
I saw that. No,
It's
I
so
saw that in a movie theater. It was me, my buddy, and the one other person.
That movie is so horrible that honest movie trailers couldn't even make fun of it. They just were like, all right, this is the fucking movie. This movie is so bad they couldn't even kill John Bean right.
Here's the thing. The Wachowski brothers had siblings. You're right, siblings. Sorry. They had a great idea, and they created an amazing movie.
And then they over-explained it.
No, they created an amazing movie.
Oh, I know what movie we're talking about.
And then that movie led them to a career they didn't deserve. Because every movie, I like the Matrix trilogy, but their first movie was so good. I'm not saying they did an M. Night Shyamalan, but they did an M. Night Shyamalan, where their first one was really great, and then they had a couple sparks of okay, and it ended up being a downward spiral of disappointment, horror, pain, and I forget the name of the German director that does all the video game movies.
Uwe Boll.
Yeah, or Uwe Boll. I mean, that's literally. I mean, they literally. I mean,
he fights people who he got like one of the trolls came after him when he challenged him to a boxing match, and the troll picked him up on it, and then Uwe Boll beat the shit out of him in the ring.
Yeah.
But the reason why he does those is because there's some like loophole in like German.
Yeah, he
laws.
gets paid by the German. I mean, they're terrible though. I mean, they're absolutely. But that's the whole thing. Look at the Wachowski siblings and what they've done after Matrix. They've all been crap. They've literally all been crap.
They've been shiny looking crap.
They've been shiny, slick, good-looking movies.
Polish a turd and it's still a turd.
Like Speed Racer. That movie
looks
good.
And you look at the cast, and the cast says it should be awesome. You look at the cast for Jupiter Ascending. That should be a good flick.
Channing Tatum trying to sound like he's intelligent.
Yeah, I got halfway through the movie and I'm like, no matter how hot you are, no.
With that little lump.
Saw it on a plane, somebody walked out.
I don't know.
It's a horrible joke.
And the problem is, I'm worried because the entire original cast is on board for Matrix 4.
It's been too long. It's been a second. But that can also be an benefit.
Well, but that's the whole thing. The Wachowskis are not the sole writer, or they're not directing. They're consulting. So it's somebody else is trying to pick it up. And
yeah, so they're going to consult. Like, oh, you can really do this. Yeah, cool. I'm going to take it down. You're not writing it down. Oh, I fucking know. I saw the last 2 weeks. Shut the fuck up.
Make a right turn. You can do how? Not that depressed. Oh, I beg to differ. I saw that movie. I saw Speed Racer. Shut the fuck up. Not the actual line of the joke, but I have way too much respect for the man that passed away that actually told that joke originally. So
well, and here's the thing: if you enjoyed Speed Racer, then I'm not going to fault you. I'm not going to fault people for enjoying movies.
Seriously,
because movies. I
it's
mean,
all about your taste.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing:
we all have horrible taste sometimes. It's okay.
I mean, there were people that enjoyed Loaded Weapon 1. A movie so bad that I actually walked out of a theater. It's the only movie I've ever done that to. Loaded Weapon. During the era when freaking and here's the thing. Here's the cast. Emilio Estevez.
Francis is Happy Feet, the Penguin Magic Mike.
Yes.
Okay. Loaded Weapon 1. It was a National Lampoon backed film starring Samuel L. Jackson and Emilio Estevez as the 2 leads.
It's a National Lampoon.
But some of them, so is European Vacation. So is those Vacation movies are all that. National Lampoon typically makes pretty good movies. You're talking about a movie that had an all-star cast. And it
I do
literally,
like it.
and it literally lost me, just like that. And I love screwball comedies.
I think it was because it was basically you already had the Naked Gun.
No, but that's the whole thing. It was a tape.
Or no, the movies with what's his name?
You're talking about the ones with Jackie Chan and
No, this is you had like
because
something Gun 1 and then something Gun 2.
Naked
and
yeah,
Gun.
that's a Naked Gun. No, the Loaded Weapon was actually a tape. It was a spoof on the whole. It was a spoof on the
Loaded Weapon.
The Mel Gibson and Danny Glover series of
Loaded Weapon.
Lethal Weapon.
Lethal
It was a riff on the Lethal Weapon movies. The problem was whoever it was they had writing and handling that script.
Was an idiot.
No, they had no comic timing. So when they would give a joke that was supposed to be a visual gag, they were trying to do National Lampoon level humor, but they were also riffing on that Loaded Weapon or the Naked Gun weapon, the movies. So they were telling some visual gags, but instead of letting the visual gag do one gag and then that be funny, like there's a point when Emilio Estevez is doing a stakeout in a convenience store where a guy's holding up the store. So he opens up the magazine. For you young people, a magazine was a thing you could go into a store and buy that was paper you would read on.
Glossy paper.
And inside the paper, there were these little cards that you could fill out to send in, so they would send the magazines directly to your home. And there was usually like 3 or 4 of them in a thing. It was kind of sometimes to be funny. So you'd open it up, and a handful of them fall out. And they cut away to the scene, and they come back, and he's still holding the magazine, and there's still more of the cards falling out of the magazine. And then they cut away to the robber, and they cut back to him, and now he's buried up to his waist in the cards that have fallen out of this single magazine. And then they cut away to the robber some more, and they cut back to him, and now he's literally just a magazine with a pair of hands and a pile of these cards, and he bursts out of it, and it's just like, come on, it's a joke, laugh, it's funny, it's a joke, come on guys, it's funny, keep laughing, it's funny. And they did that with every joke in the movie, the entire visual gag.
There's something that like one of the best examples of it is Team America World Police, where they talk about the scene where like something's funny, and if it goes too long, it's unfunny.
Yeah.
And then if it keeps going, it can become funny again. And that's the scene where the puppet throws up. Literally goes on for like over a minute of just and it's like, and like at first you're like oh, it's puking and the puppet's sick and it drank too much puke, and you're like, wow, that's just going on pretty long. This is stupid.
Yeah.
And then it keeps going. Then you're like, this is funny again.
Yeah. Well, the problem is that if they keep doing it and then keep doing it again, then it becomes unfunny again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem. They held every visual joke in that movie. Every visual joke was held too long. I got 45 minutes in the movie, and I finally just got up and walked out. I'd fallen asleep in the movie, and then I'm like, all right, I'm done. I got up and walked out. Because I love movies. I'm a student of movies, practically. I mean, I can talk about framing and shots and the panoramic and some of the stuff that goes behind it and how you frame a shot and how you get some of the vistas you want and why certain movies are really bad, may have bad scripts, but their cinematographer saves the movie. We have a god-awful amount of Super Bowl. Of course. I mean, one of the perfect movies of that is Far and Away. If you go strictly by the script, Far and Away, Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise movie early in their marriage, where they're a couple, they kind of get along, and they come over, and she's like from a rich family, and they come over to the United States, and there's this whole, it's the plot itself.
I've never seen a super movie like that. I feel like use my teeth because I don't know if you use your teeth on it.
I don't think it's offensive.
Anyhow, the movie. I mean, again, you look at the movie,
not a great movie, but it's The Rock, and I was a big Rock.
but it was
Dude, I
entertaining.
loved that.
But here's the thing: you look at Far and Away. The plot of the
Yeah.
movie's pretty thin. There's some great dialogue in it, and the chemistry with the characters is great.
And Rock just makes up 100%.
But the way they make up for that movie is that cinematographer won an Oscar for that movie because the visuals in that movie are incredible. The shot, they have a shot that they do where everybody's waiting at the starting line because it was literally the movie takes place during the land rush in Oklahoma. Yeah, it's an arm, a hammer. It looks great.
Is it the right position?
Yeah.
It's your what? Sir?
I know.
It's your, it's your.
Runners were out of shit. And literally the shot where they bang the gun and everybody goes rushing to grab land in Oklahoma. It is probably
Once you go to grab land in Oklahoma, people wanted to live in Oklahoma at one point.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. That scene is so chaotic but beautiful because there's like 5,000 people in this scene, and there's all these little stories going on while everybody's rushing across this gorgeous, golden wheat plains in the film. It's gorgeous. The cinematography makes that film. It's an okay movie. It's not a bad movie. It's pretty okay. It's okay entertaining, but the visuals make it stunning.
One of my favorite movies, and is kind of arguably probably not one of the best movies ever, but I enjoyed the crap out of it, is Kevin Costner's Waterworld.
There's some cool scenes in that.
Skip the first hour of the film.
You were one of the first people I've ever met that enjoys that movie,
Yes.
or likes it.
Yes.
Yes, she likes it.
I found.
I actually can top that. I really enjoyed Kevin Costner's movie The Postman.
Yeah, oh, it's really good. I still love that. Where am I?
You don't
From now
understand.
on, you have to get your mail down there.
You don't understand. Postman is literally one of my top 10 movies. Entirely because of the way it's shot and the storytelling structure. I love the storytelling structure
Oh
of
my
the movie. I mean,
It
would drive you nuts. You would hate that
I've
movie.
seen it.
You have?
Yes.
I wouldn't have thought you'd like that movie.
When Kevin Costner was going through a period of doing all those epics, I watched them all.
Freaking Postman it was so hated on by critics, and it was
You spelled tyranny wrong.
just
Shakespeare, who didn't want to fight.
yeah. I mean, hey, Hot Dinner Plate loved Waterworld.
Yeah, I watched it a number of times, and then the beginning of it is very slow. If you've ever actually watched the movie, the beginning of it is really, really slow, but it's world building. And I thought it was stunning the way they set the world up in that first hour. But it's kind of dry. It's a lot of dry.
Kevin Costner makes dry films. I mean, honestly, he doesn't do action films.
But at the exact 1 hour mark into that film is when it starts picking up.
Playing along that line of movies that some people say suck or not like I don't know. One of my favorite movies of all time, probably one of my top 10s, is Unbreakable.
Another great flick.
Like
One of Shyamalan's real gems in there.
The only
Probably is my personal opinion. Probably his best film.
My only problem
yeah,
with that
I
movie
enjoyed it more than Sixth Sense.
is that because I grew up reading comic books, nothing in that movie surprised me. There is not a damn thing in that movie.
Well,
that
yeah,
surprised me.
the whole thing is basically a
Yeah,
comic.
it's a comic
Because
book.
the original movie, the original comic, he wanted to make a superhero movie,
Yeah.
and then he realized the origin story was the interesting part. So he made an entire movie, the origin story.
Yeah, and unfortunately, because having grown up on comic books, the minute he mentioned Magneto and Xavier, I'm like, he's the fucking bad guy.
See,
And the thing is, he's the most interesting bad guy. Like in regards to your D&D thing, he's a bad guy, and his whole thing was he wanted to find his opposite. He wanted to prove that he wasn't a mistake. He did all these horrible things,
Deliberately
trying to find a hero.
the unbreakable hero
Mhm.
that was opposite to his class, which is kind of freaky because it makes you wonder, the Horde dude, who's his opposite?
He has multiple personalities, so we're all his opposite with our single personality.
Yeah, you have to see those two movies. They tie into
But
each other.
they also said in the third one when one of the heroes arises, he brings the villains around him. So because like in hero notes and comic book, there's always more villains than heroes.
Yeah.
So that's why in the comic book version of the movie of Wanted, it's very different than in the actual movie. The reason why they explain why their world is the way that it was, all the villains realize there's more of us villains than there are heroes. We all just team up and just kill these guys. Like we all fight them one by one. Yeah, there's like 10 of us. Let's beat the shit out of them.
Until Batman shows up and then they go, well,
no, Batman. I am tired of everyone sucking on Batman's nuts.
Oh no. The thing I have to say about Batman, and this is something that I always found interesting, was if you fight Batman and he's never fought you before, kill his ass then. Don't let him get away, because if he gets away, because one of the things about Bruce is he is hyper intelligent. He's going to sit there and he's going to pick apart the fight, and he's going to pick apart you, and he's going to figure out how to beat you.
Batman, in my opinion, I like Batman. Batman is a good hero. Batman is only good if you focus your story just about Gotham. The moment you start bringing into Batman as being this world-class superhero, billions of dollars is your superpower.
What's your superpower? I'm rich. That's an actual line.
Yeah, I was in the
recent
movie theater.
books.
I literally
that
movie.
Well, no, he's that in
yes, he's
because
smart.
he said that in Justice League.
Batman doesn't kill people.
Yeah, he said that in Justice League, which I thought was amusing as crap, because I was like, oh, look, a Joss Whedon scene was brought in. Because you could tell just by their interaction that was a Joss.
See, here's the thing.
But here's the thing, is there is an actual...
No, he doesn't, Zane. Batman doesn't kill. It's one of his rules. There are Elseworld stories.
He used to.
There are times that he used to kill.
He used to kill with a gun, as a matter of fact.
That's when they first brought it. You don't count the 40s.
Or how about the time that he snapped 3 guys' necks and then left 4 people to die by burning alive?
In which comic?
Is
it an Elseworld or is it an actual?
No, it's in the 70s.
Yeah. And while he's doing that, he's busy boinking Black Canary over in the corner.
What?
I don't know. But anyway, no, it was just it was really funny because there is a one of the animated Justice League movies, the first one they did where they brought everyone together. He's dealing with Hal Jordan.
Oh yeah.
And
Batman, what's your superpower?
He doesn't say anything. He goes, so what? You like turn invisible or something? You know, you can turn into a bat. No. Well, what about this? Are you telling me you're just a guy in a suit acting like you're a superhero? Then Batman just turns, looks over his shoulder at Green Lantern, and just grins.
Yeah. So I mean,
and then he's just like, wait a minute, and he gets over and he's like, you are so seriously fucked up. And then Batman just looks at him and he goes, what does this do? And he holds up the ring. He got it off of Hal's hand without him ever noticing. He goes, what does this do? I'm going to assume that it works off of imagination and intelligence and ingenuity. And Hal's sitting there going, how did you do that, Bat? And he's like, you would never do that again. Unless I want to.
The thing about Batman is that, yeah, I mean, Batman, the problem is that Batman is literally, he's the Captain Kirk of DC Universe. He is always the better man, except that they actually do give him a couple flaws. But I think the
commitment issue is number one.
I think the best ever take on him was during when the New 52, they redid the whole Supergirl story, and they were bringing Supergirl back into DC Comics, and she had been taken captured by Darkseid. And Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman are dealing with all this horde of all these bad guys, and they're just crushing things with Apocalypse. Oh, tons of fighting. Batman just like sneaks into Apocalypse's tower. He's walking around and doing stuff. And finally, Apocalypse grabs him, and Apocalypse beats the hell out of Batman. And he's about to kill him, and he's like, I wouldn't do that. What do you mean? You're going to give us the girl, and you're not going to have any kickers on it. You're going to leave the Earth alone. You're going to give me the girl, and we're going to leave out of here. And he's like, what makes you think I'm going to listen to you? You're just a human. Yeah, I'm a human. I have nothing left to lose. So I've spent the last 2 hours placing explosives everywhere in your base. If you don't let me go and do what I say, I'm going to blow them up. That'll kill you too. Yep. Yes, it will. But it'll take your entire planet with me. I'm willing to make that trade. Are you? And the man made Darkseid. Okay. Batman does have a single power. He has a single power that nobody ever gives him credit for.
Terrifying.
No. He is absolutely committed.
Oh, yeah.
He has.
He's John Wick.
He is. He is absolutely
A man
committed.
of sheer fucking will.
A man of absolute will. He has one. When he makes a decision, that's it. You either go along with what he's doing, or you're going to suffer the consequences. It doesn't matter. That's his power. He has the ability to inflict his will upon other people and just be like, "You're done. You're done. You're done. You're done."
In the movie Justice League Dark, he's forced to team up with Constantine. If you're familiar with who Constantine is,
I like it. I
Yeah.
really do like it.
And it's voiced by the dude who played on the TV show, by the way.
Nice.
And
Can we just talk about how Constantine was such a good show that got fucked over so hard?
oh, seriously,
I knew as soon as they said it was going to be here on Friday, it's like, well, that
it's
show's
done.
fucked.
My favorite thing is the fact that not too long ago they brought he's back on that Crisis of
Then
Infinite.
he's killed something, but his rule in the actual continuity is that he doesn't kill.
Well, he tries to avoid it.
Does he do things in like in the movie? I don't count the Justice League.
I don't
movie.
count the movies. The movies aren't canon.
Yeah,
They're
Ben
entertaining.
Affleck. Ben Affleck Batman. Did he kill people? Yeah. Is Ben Affleck's Batman really Batman in
That's
that movie?
debatable.
Yeah, but he was a shitty Batman.
Okay.
No, he was
Moving
actually a really
on.
good.
He was a good Bruce Wayne.
So
No,
it's
no, he's a good Batman.
He was a good Batman.
Zatanna.
He's actually probably the
Constantine
best part of that
and
whole
Batman.
movie.
Yeah.
And
shitty
they're
Bruce
walking
Wayne.
and they get to this
No,
place and they're
Good Bruce Wayne. He's just an old Bruce Wayne.
Like
He
they're-
reminded
yeah,
me entirely of the Bruce Wayne from the Dark Knight
Reapers,
Returns.
basically, and they're circling.
He did it
and
well.
Zatanna's like,
It's just it's a shitty movie.
and
you
he's
can't
just like,
blame
and
him.
Batman stops and
It's
goes, what in the
I
God?
wish.
Race.
I wish they.
The spirits of the dead, they come
I want
to collect souls.
And I want Michael Keaton.
And he can't
Well,
see them.
it's even better than that. You know, he's playing the
Hear
Batman,
them.
right?
So they're
Because they're filming
pushing
it.
around him, and one of them
Had-
gets up in his face and says,
That was weird.
you have escaped
He's a great actor.
too many times. And he's just looking straight ahead, and he can tell where it is based on the fact that the other three are looking where they're looking, and he just goes, boom. And all the rays back off. They're like, all right, we're done.
Mhm.
So my original tangent on Batman being film, I still think he's good.
I don't disagree.
I think if you focus on Batman, you keep Batman in Gotham, interesting. If you keep him as this figure of that no one knows, like the Batman, not this. We're the Justice League. I'm Superman. Wonder Woman. I'm Batman. Kind of thing, like where he's on some podium. It's like, no, you're the Dark Knight. You're supposed to like hide in the shadows. You're supposed to be some silent protector. The moment you have Batman step out into the light of day, and he's like on some fucking podium accepting awards for the Justice League, he's boring.
You know
as
that's
shit.
not fucking him.
Well, but here's the whole problem, and this comes down to the difference between why Marvel and DC, why Marvel is a superior comic book. DC, all of their heroes are godlike abilities that don't normally have to deal with day-to-day bullshit. They don't have to deal with people problems. Marvel comics, they're about people that also happen to have superpowers, but I gotta pay my freaking rent. And that's the difference between the two.
Wolverine. There's no fucking beer.
But seriously, you look at the difference between Marvel and DC. Marvel deals with characters. DC deals with problems.
That's the thing. There's a guy on YouTube called I think his YouTube thing is just some random guy. He puts on these little skits with superhero dolls and he voices them and everything. But they're literally just the action figures, so they don't really move. They occasionally put the lips don't move or anything. And he did this one huge crossover. Like there's literally huge storylines in it. It's actually like you watch it and you have to pay attention. Like there's episodes and it's really good. There's one we're talking about. Like, there's a crossover like with the Marvel and DC characters, and they're talking back and forth.
Yeah, that's happened.
And they're doing something, and then one of the DC characters is like, "How do you deal with this? Like you're supposed to be heroes. Like, when you're a hero, how do you be a hero?" And they're like, "Well, you're my hero," kind of a thing, because DC characters are godlike, like that. Their version of hero that they're trying to emulate are the DC characters.
My favorite 2 instances in comics where the 2 universes crossed over. One of them, it was really cute. It happened back in the 90s. And it shows this little comic shop in Gotham. And there's a guy in it who's getting all annoyed because, well, what happened to the X-Men display that you guys had in the front window? What are you talking about? You guys had this X-Men display in the window. There were figures and stuff like that. Where'd it go? I wanted to buy those. Look, buddy, and the front of the store explodes and the Batmobile comes through the front window. Dude jumps behind the counter, and they're both peeking out as the Batmobile just parks itself. And they're looking at it, and the dude turns and looks, and they look at each other and they go, "What the hell did you do to get Batman's attention?" Roof opens, slides open, Gambit's head pops up out of the driver's seat, and he goes, "Damn, that is a touchy ass accelerator." Joker's head pops up out of the passenger seat, and he goes, "I missed you so much." Then there's another incident in all of that where Batman is up in the rafters in this warehouse next to Captain America because Red Skull and the Joker have joined forces. And they're sitting there talking, and Captain America's starting to get a little concerned because it's starting to get a little serious down there because he knows Red Skull. And it's like, okay, this is not a good team up because anything he suggests, Joker's crazy enough to go, "That is a great idea. Let's do it." And Batman's like, "Really?" And he goes, "Yeah, I mean, what else do you do with a psycho Nazi, super scientist?" And Batman goes, "He's German. Yeah, he's a Nazi. Yeah, we have nothing to worry about." And just sits back. And he's just like, and Steve's like, "What? Why? Why do we have nothing to worry about?" Apparently, Red Skull makes a comment about how he's a Nazi, and Joker stops dead and turns around and he goes, "You're a Nazi, like German Nazi, World War II, let's start killing everybody Nazi?" "Yes." "Oh, hell no! I may be a deranged psychopathic thrill killer, but I'm an American deranged psychopathic thrill killer. Stand back, boys. This one's mine." And Red Skull's sitting here going, "What just happened?" And Steve's just like, "We should probably do something right now." And Batman goes, "In a minute. But he's going to kill him." "No, he won't. But he's going to give it his best shot." I just thought that was great because, I mean, Batman's just totally.
But then that also shows one of the big differences between some of their iconic characters. I mean, you look at, like, who is the paragon, the number one, the biggest, baddest guy, the guy that everybody looks to as their paragon of the DC universe. Everybody looks to Superman. Now you do the same thing in the Marvel universe. Who do you look to?
Captain America.
Right. What's the difference between the two of them?
One's an alien.
One's just a guy.
Was this a guy or was this a scientist?
Yeah, he was a.
The thing is,
But
I like Superman.
What was it?
I like
I
Superman,
think-
but he's unrelatable.
No.
He's absolutely unrelatable.
He's unrelatable in the sense if you need to read the best Superman, and it's going to sound really weird, the best Superman comic book I ever read. Superman wasn't even a mean person. It was Luther. It was the comic, the graphic novel is called Luther. And it has one of the best lines in it. Because Lex Luthor is supposed to be the pinnacle of human achievement. He's a multi-billionaire. He owns his own business. He's the smartest. He's the strongest. He's the pinnacle of humanity. And then
And
Superman
he's what
shows up.
everybody strives.
He's the best of the best at whatever he does. And then Superman shows up, and you're nothing. So he one of the best lines in it is Lex Luthor's talking to Superman. And Lex Luthor is going, I live in America. I'm an American. All men are born, all men, truth, justice. We have so many great laws, and anybody can become any. But you're not trapped by what you're born. He's like, in line goes, in America, all men are born. You are not a man.
But that's exactly the point. Superman's not relatable. He is so. I mean, there are cool things about Superman. Don't get me wrong, but I think the best option of that is during the finale, the series finale of Justice League Ultimate. There's a fight scene where they're about to face off against.
Jeez, the dark side.
They're about to face off against Darkseid, and everything's getting smashed up, and Darkseid's just like he smacked a couple people out of the way, and he's threatening them all, and Superman's like, "Huh, finally, a real threat." And Darkseid's like, "What?" He's like, "You understand? I live in a world made of tissue paper, where I have to watch my every movement because I could accidentally knock over buildings without thinking about it. But with you, I don't have to hold back at all."
Or that's another. If you read what is that? Justice Superman, and he fights. He pointed out it's Union Jack and what's it called? Where like Superman unleashes and people they go after him to stop him because they wanted the big blue Boy Scout, and Superman comes back and beats the shit and scares him. He's like takes his one friend and throws him in the air. He's like, "You hear that? That's your friend Poppy becoming supernova." And Union Jack's scared out of his fucking mind. And Superman's act like being crazy, "Oh, what's the point anymore? I don't believe that." And he's like, "You can't." He's like, and he stops, "See, this is why the man." And he takes his laser eyes, severs the back of Union Jack's mind, so Union Jack can't use his powers anymore. That's the one. But no, if Superman wasn't a big blue Boy Scout, I think the fact that he's a big blue Boy Scout.
They've shown what would happen if you removed that.
There's been a bunch of else ones about it. I mean, I think
Injustice.
Injustice. Injustice is one of them. But there's also the they had Red Sun.
Yes.
Where instead of landing
Communist.
where instead of landing in Kansas, in the wheat fields in Kansas, he landed in the wheat fields in Ukraine. So he was raised as the first son of Russia, and it's an interesting take because.
But then Batman's also kind of Wonder Woman is.
Well, the interesting point is that because he still has that drive of, there's a specific point of him being moral. When he decides, when he's taught the communist way, he listens to what the letter of how it's supposed to work. So when he sees,
communism works great on paper. In practice, it does.
Well, that's the whole problem. He's like, when he sees where people are not doing what they're supposed to do because they're not following the word, he eliminates them.
He killed Stalin.
He killed Stalin. He killed Lenin, and he's like, you know what? No, sorry, he didn't kill Lenin, but he killed Stalin, and he took over the party. Like, this is the way we're going to work. And they made it work because everybody had to follow the way it had to work. And if they didn't, the first son would deal with them. It was an interesting take that communism worked because he kept everybody in line. There's another one where instead of crash landing in a field of corn in Kansas, he crash lands outside of Gotham and is found by the Waynes.
Oh, that's
And they never had Bruce, so he didn't wake up to his powers right away. He got his.
Chick's in the chat. Chicken.
Hey, Techmar.
Hello.
It's going well, buddy. So he didn't realize his powers until his mom and dad were killed in front of him, and then he became Superman.
There was one they did. It was called Justice League American Monsters, or American Gods and Monsters. It's where Superman is not is Kal-El or is Zod's son. Batman is like a vampiric Batman, and Wonder Woman is like evil. Yeah, that was an interesting.
And that's the thing. But you keep going back to the whole thing. Superman is a godlike being. He has specific weaknesses, and that's the only way to beat him.
A green rock, magic.
A green rock or magic. That's pretty much it.
I love the fact that they have a comic where he started going off
A lot of people stop Superman. His morals are also.
And,
but that's about it. I mean, you look at like there's he's out of a league.
No, they introduced a new thing. I don't know if it's still canon.
And he comes in.
He has this ability that like he
And
goes
they're sitting there
supernova,
fighting.
where he takes all
And then
his like sort of
shit out of Bruce, and Bruce goes,
it
okay,
becomes
and drops
like a release like an energy wave.
on
But
both of
he's
his
so
middle
drained
fingers. He's got
afterwards, he
pure
could literally
kryptonian
come and kill.
rings and just wham. And he takes Superman out just by boxing with him. And then when he's
Well,
done,
Chickner's got his streaming set up, so he's gonna put it in action on Monday.
so when it's all said and done, he's standing over this bloody, potentially dying Superman, and he goes, "I will teach you."
Ooh, wait. Chick's got a good point. One of the best comics dealing with Superman, as he's one of my favorites, Chick, is when Batman talks about him. Because he was raised by human parents, he doesn't think of himself as a god. That's why he always says, "I'm just a small kid from I'm just
a boy from a small town."
Kansas, yeah."
Yeah.
But instead, as a regular person, be able to do some extraordinary things.
And yeah, like again, don't get me wrong. I'm not hating on Superman. I mean, I love Superman, but I think that's one of the biggest problems you have between the two comic book companies, in that DC's characters are all so much more powerful than their equivalent counterparts in Marvel. I mean, you look at like who would be considered like one of the most powerful guys in all of Marvel as far as the heroes go.
In heroes, that would be
Thor. I mean, there's
Sentry. Sentry is their version of Superman. He's just not well known.
Right. Well, he's not well known, and the problem is that he's a retconned in character that they've retconned a bunch of stuff for, and they've done a lot of weird stories. But talking mainstream characters,
I collect some of this. There, some of the new 52 stuff. There was one where they were chased by Mad Max Carnage.
Yeah.
It was hilarious and great.
But I mean, you look at their mainstream. I mean, the guy who's going to be closest in power level to him is going to be somebody like Thor.
Yeah.
And Thor's all about his humanity and his flaws and his failures. You look at like Batman. The equivalent to Batman, honestly, is Iron Man. They're the same guy. They're a billionaire. That
Iron Man went more tech savvy
right.
compared to.
But they're a billionaire that uses their brains to solve problems, and uses their money to back their brains. So I mean, they really are. Their main power is they're billionaires and they throw their money at problems. I mean, you look at the Flash and compare him to Marvel's biggest speedster, which is Quicksilver, and it's not even close. Flash is able to move so fast he can travel back and forth through time. Quicksilver, if he breaks, 300 miles an hour, he falls down coughing and gasping afterwards because he just churned out so much energy out of his body. I don't dislike DC. I love DC. They were one of the comics that got me into. I love some of their movies. I guess, just like I said, I was saying earlier, the biggest thing about DC is about events that these heroes deal with, in my opinion. It's what it seems like. There's events and the heroes deal with them. And in Marvel, there's these people that have powers and they have to deal with the things that are going on in day to day. And that's just my take on it. And I'll be honest, I haven't kept up to comics for it because Marvel started doing the more event-based thing that they have to react to. And that's been the biggest problem I've had.
I just find DC personalities and ordinary very drastic. So
And I'm not disagreeing. And the problem is I have to really separate the movies from the comics, both for both Marvel and DC.
yeah.
Because Scarlet Witch is grotesquely powerful. And again, that's another problem with comics in a whole. Power creep is a real thing. when Scarlet Witch first showed up, and I was reading her comics back in the 70s, her main thing was she could create small probability changes and negative probabilities. She could fire hex bolts, and she could fly. And that was really all she had. She could cause things to break down, but she couldn't do the stuff that she did years later. And the thing is that as things went on and more writers wanted to put a new take on things, they put a new take on things, and they put a new take on things, and they put a new take on things. Wolverine went from being a guy that healed pretty quick and had really high senses to what we knew about. I mean, to be honest, originally Wolverine's claws weren't even part of his body; they were in his gloves. That's why they never showed him pop him on his gloves. It wasn't until he had been around for like 30, 40 issues that they went, "Oh my gosh, his blades are in his arms. He's got adamantium bones." That wasn't part of his original story. They just changed that as time went on. If you look at his first few appearances, he was a lot more agile. He did a lot of jumping and acrobatics and whatnot. And it was more about him being agile. And they've changed that over time. And that's okay. But that's the thing. That's where you get into the power creep thing. You went from the idea that this is a super agile guy that has hypersenses to a point where there's a comic where he gets most of his face blasted off and melted off, and half his body's cut to pieces, and he's nearly beheaded, and he comes back and he's still fighting. Or you've got
Deadpool.
But Deadpool's always been like that. That's the thing. It's so weird to see the power.
When Deadpool was,
Yeah, actually, you're right. He wasn't even like that.
he was a villain. When he was first introduced.
He was a ridiculous film when he first started. But that's the whole thing. The 90s did a lot to really amp up everybody's powers. I mean, the 90s kind of went ridiculous. Starting with the Inferno saga, where they decided to make everybody, oh God. I mean, it was just funny being a kid in the 70s and 80s and reading comics and watching the 90s happen and watching, like Inferno, where suddenly magic went from this chick that had some demonic ties and could port into limbo and had the soul sword to let her rule demons and whatnot, to suddenly being a full-blown demonic sorceress and fully realized her powers, then got regressed back to being a child, and then it came back, and they go back, and they go back and forth. And the impermanence of death, I mean...
Just because you died doesn't mean you're dead.
And that's the thing. That didn't used to be the case. Like, when you killed people back in the 70s and the 80s, early 80s, when you died, you stayed dead. Comic characters stayed dead. Ever since they brought back Phoenix, it's now become a revolving door of people being brought back to life again. And I think part of that's why I did fall away from comics for a good decade.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I stopped reading comics for a large part of the 2000s. Well, even longer than that, yeah. Longer than a decade. I stopped reading comics periodically. But like I went back to read Civil War II, and like the first issue of Civil War II, like that. I mean, it was just
What was the fight behind Civil War II? I never got into that one.
The basic story behind Civil War II is Minority Report. Have you ever seen the movie Minority Report? So they found an Eternal that had the ability to see the future. So they started using his powers to counteract abilities. But then they started using it to preemptively do stuff. So they killed the Hulk. Like, shot him dead. They did some stuff to attack Thanos because he was trying to do something, and then he was just minding his own damn business. It killed War Machine. It just was this ridiculous thing. And then when it was shown that his power really didn't work that way, it was just a matter of viewing probabilities and things could be terribly wrong. It was a horrible, horrible storyline. And in the end, there was no resolution. One side just said, okay, we're not doing this anymore. And it was really just a horrible, horrible story. They were trying to capitalize on Captain Marvel movies soon coming out and all the Marvel hype going on, and they wanted to build this character before they gave her a movie, and it just made her look like a terrible character.
Was she basically pro?
She was using this kid to preemptively deal with problems, and they were about to blow away Miles Morales because the kid had a vision of Miles Morales killing Captain America, and they're like, "Well, that's not going to happen." And that was, you know, like I said, I don't disagree. The comics, the thing is, the movies. The big thing about the movies is that the movies take things to another level. Now, I will tell you, I like the Captain Marvel movie.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was good.
Captain Marvel was a Deus Ex Machina in the second Avengers, the Avengers Thanos, one of the final Endgame movie.
Yeah.
She was a Deus Ex Machina. She showed up, blew up a shit, beat his ass.
Then she got beat up too.
She got punched once with a power stone and it knocked her aside, and that was really. But I mean, literally, basically, she Supermaned that fight. She just, and it was like, wow, we've never seen anything really approaching this power, and now she's just whoop, over to a 10. You know, she just went straight to a 11.
There's no Marvel film I don't like. Like, this is a pile of shit. They make fun. They do. They make good.
Oh no, I don't get me wrong. I love even the worst, quote unquote, worst of the Marvel movies. I still like. Thor: The Dark World. Oh,
I love that one.
No, the Hulk movie was worse.
No, the Hulk movie is actually really good. The Edward Norton Hulk movie is a good movie. It is a good movie. If you like Hulk, it's a good movie. It's not the Edward Bana. I mean, the Eric Bana Hulk movie. Now that was
Ang Lee trying to make an emotional superhero.
And you know what the problem with that is?
Mutant Poodles?
No. Eric Bana was the best angsty Banner.
Hmm?
He was, and Eric Bana is such an underrated actor, and to give him a role like playing the angsty version of Banner was perfect. But that script was just dog shit.
It was.
Oh my god, it's a horrible script. Yeah, no, it was like I said. She was a Deus Ex Machina. I loved Endgame. It's still my favorite Marvel movie. That movie's awesome. But again, that's the thing. That's a difference between that and the DC. I mean, the DC movies. I'll be honest with you. I love the Dark Knight series of movies. I hated Man of Steel. I hated Man of Steel.
Yeah.
I really super strongly disliked Batman versus Superman. I mean, there was about 15 minutes of good movie in there, so there were some entertaining scenes.
I didn't like Batman vs Superman. I didn't think I was gonna like Justice League, but I did.
I did not think I was gonna like Justice League, honestly, but I went to see it anyhow. And honestly, letting Joss Whedon polish that up and direct fix that movie. It's no compared to the Avengers movie. Yes, it sucked.
Oh yeah.
Considering it, it's the second best. Well, at this point, it's now the third best of the DC movies, the DC Universe movies. Because I'm sorry, Wonder Woman is still great, and Aquaman was fun, silly but fun. I like the Aquaman movie.
Wonder Woman still had a weak third act. I think that
I don't disagree with you.
Their villain looks so horrible.
I don't disagree.
That's what Ares looks like. A mustache.
No, you don't get me wrong. I do not disagree with you about that. It had a weak third act, and that's a problem. I think all of the DC movies have a weak third act. And I mean, we're going back to Dark Knight. I think the third of the Dark Knight films was terrible, and I think the third act of both the first two Dark Knight films were kind of bad. I mean, the whole resolution to the first Dark Knight film with Batman Begins, the whole resolution with Ra's al Ghul and the train sequence, and I like the film, but that third act was weak. The whole Batman and making the decision, the Dark Knight movie, the second one, yeah, Heath Ledger made that movie, but the whole story of how the resolution with Two-Face and how suddenly Batman is hunted and all that, that actually never made any damn sense. It didn't make a damn bit of sense. And because it didn't make any sense, it kind of ruined the movie. And that was, again, the third act. The third act was really weak. The third movie, the whole movie on a whole was...
The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, just...
My biggest quandary with The Dark Knight Rises is I couldn't understand Bane. I couldn't hear him.
You know, that's a valid point. If you can't understand what the character is saying,
All I just heard was the teacher and friggin'
Charlie Brown.
Charlie Brown. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, this is supposed to be important. Usually I can read lips in order to get the gist of what's going on, but Bane, not a thing.
I do like they have the guy who is a Mexican luchador. Where it's like, let's go for a British Cockney accent.
yeah.
Really, I really just like the fact that I really like Justice League. I really like it.
It is weird to have a conversation with you not even in the room.
Yeah, I mean,
Honestly,
Joker. Now that is a good point, though. We've just recently seen Joker. Oh man! But it's not a superhero film. That's what I think. That's
And the thing is, you wouldn't even like if they removed the word Joker in Gotham.
yeah. If they took out the words Gotham, if they took out the DC movie references, it would still be a great psychological thriller of a film. That's the thing. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. You look at that third movie. You look at that Joker movie. If you took out all the DC
Yeah,
references,
Joker. I mean, Joker is a Martin Scorsese. It's literally just Taxi Driver and the King Kong.
actually no. You know what it is? Honestly, I saw that movie and all I thought was Darren Aronofsky. It felt like a Darren Aronofsky movie to me. It is the complete disintegration and dissolvement of a human being into his worst elements until there's no coming back. Just like Black Swan, just like the Death of American Dream, just like The Wrestler. It's literally a movie where you watch.
Randy Ran Jam. In our conversation about the 90s, you're like, the 90s sucked.
Yeah, but I mean, literally, the Joker felt like an Aronofsky film. It just everything falls apart until there's no coming back. And that was beautiful. It was. I love Aronofsky. Aronofsky's one of my favorite filmmakers. I love his stuff. You know, and yeah, the Taxi Driver is like that as well. I think Aronofsky took a lot of cues from Taxi Driver. I really think he did. And what he did was he took it and he put it in a more modern noir film setting. Honestly, I mean, if you want to look at a movie that just watches a disintegration of somebody, The Wrestler. Honestly, The Wrestler is a fantastic, heart-wrenching, just destroying of a movie that's just about watching somebody grasping at straws. Somebody who was once great, who fell away into nothingness, trying to grasp back at a life that's been stripped away from him. No, actually, it is. It's a lot like Jake the Snake. It really was. I mean, it was the tale of every wrestler from that era that got big and fell apart. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful film. It was absolutely beautiful film. Absolutely heart-wrenching. Just killer of a film. The Death of American Dream. A movie about 4 addicts, but they're all addicts in their own way, and they all fall apart.
You mean
Death of American Dream, or it's Jared Leto.
Yeah,
and,
like the American Dream. Oh God. Oh my God, I know the movie. I can't think of it.
Yeah, you know the little time. It's Jared Leto. It's Jennifer Connelly. It's just it's Marlon Wayans, and I'm trying to remember the name of the actress. There's an old, like, golden era of Hollywood actress playing Jared Leto's mother. She's an addict to prescription medication. Jared Leto's a heroin addict. His
For a dream.
Requiem for a Dream, that's it. Jennifer Connelly's his girlfriend, and she's a drug addict, and it's just you just watch all four of their lives just disintegrate, and it's going to get better. It's going to get better. It never gets better. It's not getting better. It's getting worse. It's getting worse. It's getting horrible. I mean, the final sequence in that film, you just kind of gotta you gotta go afterwards, just go take a shower. You're just dirty after watching it because it's that bad. I mean, to see.
It's a movie you kind of watch once.
For some people, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a movie you watch once, and if you don't watch it for 5 years, you're okay with that. It's that just destructing a film. But we were talking about this before about how I love the study of films. It's why I love Aronofsky films, because all of his themes in his films, like I don't mind directors that have themes. Some of them I hate. Like you look at like Shyamalan. Almost all of his films are all about misdirection and misinformation, and it's all about some plot with an overarching problem with every man in the middle of it. Every one of his stories is there's a plot with some problem that needs a resolution, like a major resolution, but it takes a jump of logic to understand what the actual problem is. I will tell you, one of his movies that I know a lot of people hated his movies. I mean, we've talked about it. Unbreakable is a great film. The Sixth Sense is a movie you can watch exactly once, and then you can watch it twice. You watch it once.
Yep.
And
you watch it once for the surprise.
And then you watch it a second time to see where all the clues were. Mm-hmm. And then you never need to watch it again.
Because it's interesting. Because once you know the hook, the movie. And it comes back, you start noticing like, oh, I didn't notice that before.
Yeah, exactly. Unbreakable is kind of the same way. The problem is a lot of his movies you can't really watch more than 2 times. I liked Signs, but again, I think
Signs was the start of it, though.
But the problem is the whole third act of Signs, again, where it falls apart. Actually, the movie fell apart. I know the exact moment that Signs fell apart when they showed the alien. Mm-hmm. The movie was a perfect film until they actually showed the alien. Once they showed the alien, it was done.
I think you can still show bits and pieces of it.
Because
then you make the monster.
No. That's perfect. Showing the bits and pieces. But when they finally went, here's the bad guy, you went, oh, they just ruined the film with a rubber monster movie, and it was terrible.
The Happening, that was a shitty movie.
But I'll tell you, there's one movie.
The plants are killing us.
There was one movie that a lot of people hated on, and I actually loved it because of the way he filmed it, because he filmed it in the same claustrophobic manner that he filmed Signs. Mm-hmm. I loved Signs for the cinematography. That movie felt like this while you're watching it. It felt constricted. It felt oppressive. Everything happened inside of closed indoor spaces with dark corners. It was beautifully shot. He did another movie in the same similar thing, and when you went outside is when you needed to do with the antagonist and needed to come back inside. He did a movie called The Lady in the Water.
That was a very odd one, but that's also because he threw himself in that movie too.
That was a weird movie. And a lot of people didn't get it because it got really metaphysical in the middle of that movie. And all the assumptions, the twist in that movie was all the assumptions he made at that point were all incorrect because you were going off the assumptions of the lead character. And until he got a different view, you realized that he was on the right path with completely wrong answers. And it's a great film for what it is. It's a weird film, I'm not going to lie. And again, the movie lost me as soon as he did the show.
Night Hot Dinner Plate.
Good night, Hot Dinner Plate.
We're probably gonna be
yeah, it's already 12:30. Crap. Yeah, we're almost at the 4-hour mark. But that's what a good conversation does, you know. But again, the reason I love Lady in the Water, the cinematography in that film. He uses a blue palette over the entirety of that first half of the film. And then when he starts throwing in the twist, he starts dropping in warm tones. It's interesting. The entire first half of the movie is entirely shot in cool tones. And then as soon as he starts putting the twist, you start seeing
I only
one
saw that
colors.
movie once. What was the twist?
That it wasn't none of the people that he assumed were fit the roles of this
Story.
the story that because he had this whole prophecy that he was trying to fulfill. None of the people that he had picked for these roles that he thought were the people were the right people because he was going off the wrong clues.
That's right.
And once he started getting the clues, he was able to solve anything. The only time that movie finally went off the rails is when they showed the beast.
Oh, that whiny wolf.
That the viney, grassy wolf thing. And it was like, until they showed that, once they showed that, again, just like in science, it's like,
Well, because like your mind can always make a monster scary when you don't know.
and that,
You're filling in the blanks, and you're gonna put your worst.
and that's the thing. When he keeps the psychological side of things, I think he does so much better. Look at Unbreakable. 99% of that movie is.
Jam Jar just popped in.
Hey, Jam Jar. You know, that's the thing. You look at like Unbreakable. One of the best parts about Unbreakable is it's all psychological. There's no special effects. There's no super crazy awesome change or something. It's psychological. And that's what's so great about that film. And that's the thing. Like I said, I look at different filmmakers and I love when they do. You get a very very great example of the show. You know, if the reveal doesn't have to be earth-shaking and your mind is worse about it, you look at the original Alien movie, Ridley Scott Alien.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically a haunted house movie in outer space. There's a bad guy, he shows up, people disappear. And for the first 90% of the movie, you never see the actual alien. You see a limb, you see a tail, you see a glimpse, you see a shadow. You never see it itself until near the very end of the movie.
Yeah, it's true.
That movie is a classic because Ridley Scott understands the idea of just show enough, and if I do a reveal, make it a reveal worthy of the thing you're doing. But then again, Ridley Scott is probably, again, you go back to some of my favorite filmmakers. He literally, my favorite film of all time, my number one absolute, what I consider the finest crafted American film of all time, was done by Ridley Scott. There is no film, I think, more perfectly crafted. I'm not saying it's the best film. It's not everybody finds it super entertaining and all that. I'm just saying, you look at this film, every single frame is art. Every single scene has meaning. There's no filler in that thing. And the crazy thing about it, if you see the director's cut of the movie, there's so little dialogue. Everything's told with actions and motions and setting. The original Blade Runner. If you see the director's cut of the Blade Runner, they cut out all the narration. There is none of that narration. The studio made them put that in afterwards. That was never intended to be in the film.
So should you watch the original Blade Runner and then watch director's cut, or should you watch director's cut first?
If you can avoid it, don't ever watch the original cut. Just watch the director's cut. Because the director's cut,
I've never actually seen it.
literally every scene in that movie is a painting of perfection. There is a scene, the man created the visuals for Cyberpunk. There's a scene where you're coming into the city and there's a billboard and there's a city line and there's vehicles. And he did more world building in 30 seconds to 60 seconds of a pan shot across the city getting to the car than most people do with 45 minutes of dialogue. It completely sets the stage. You see the entire, and you understand the world you're dealing with just like that. It's an incredible film. And yet it still keeps him. There's an entire scene. Oh my God, there's a scene in that movie that to this
Can we
day.
put this on pause, Adrian?
Yeah.
It is quite late, sir.
We are late. We are late. It is the 4-hour mark.
Sorry to cut you.
No, we're good. We're
We trying to get the box.
Yeah, let me go up and grab that for you guys. All right, y'all. So here's what we're going to do. We're at the 4-hour mark. We're going to give a quick shout out, going to last time, to all my wonderful Patreons. We've got Minnie Warmlot. We've got Inquisitor Zane. We've got Joe Bookish. We've got Heinrich Botha. We've got the Commodore. We've got Master Modeler Alex Drake, and we have James Meeks. Instagram, Patreon. We've got merch. Come back, check out our videos. If you're not a subscriber, hit subscribe. This is the Commodore. This is Phoenix. We have been sitting here and chatting for the last 4 hours, talking about general geekery, gaming and painting and D&D and Warhammer and just movies and wonderful, wonderful nerdness on a whole, and how all this nerdness comes together to make people fully rounded beings. I want to thank all of you for being with us in this late Sunday morning now. And we thank you again for hanging out with us. We appreciate you digging into our madness. Every Tuesday, we run a regular live stream that runs from 7:30 American Central to 9 o'clock. We also do a tutorial video once a week, typically. And we do these efforts. We'll do it live probably once a week, sometimes twice a week now. So we're going to get out of here. You all have a wonderful night. Bless you all. Remember, epic your board, epic your game, and epic your life. Thank
Tell
you
your
so
mom Happy Mother's Day.
Sunday. Tell your moms Happy Mother's Day. Bless you all. And be good to each other. Wash your damn hands.